Hello, hello. If you can hear us, if you can see us, do please let us know. That way we can.
You know they totally can already. I mean, out of all these times, we've been doing this now for what? More than 2 years. And there hasn't been a single time in all of those 2 years, not once.
It's because I checked that it doesn't happen.
Not once where we haven't gone out onto both channels, or 3 channels in this particular case. The only thing that we've ever had an issue with is our levels not necessarily being on point with each other.
Yeah, but it's only because I checked. If I didn't, it would know, and then it would break itself.
Yeah, I've heard this bullshit before.
But hopefully
everyone
doing well. Welcome to another episode of Lorebeards here with good old Loremaster of Sotek and Andy Law. Hopefully you're all having lovely weeks out there.
We are this side having an absolutely marvelous week. It's been an awful lot of fun. Lots of things have happened. In particular, we are getting closer and closer and closer to actually having our own Lorebeards channel properly set up, with all of you able to go to just one location to get all of our goodies at once. The one-stop shop for Lorebeards. We're so close. Indeed, I imagine by this time next Saturday, which is only a few days away, we might even have ourselves something on the Discord side for you all to have a look at.
Yes, so do stay tuned. We'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of the stream, but we do have quite a few announcements that are going to be coming up real soon.
Oh, yeah.
Things are busy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Today's stream, gosh, I have no idea where it's going to go today.
Okay. Yeah, so it seemed like a great idea at the time. And then after seeing all of the entries, I have organized all of them. So I have all 63 unique monsters 63. Organized here. And
here we go.
The hope here is that
I just need to go. We're going to be taking a lot of these as we go, but I will note Melusine's already in there. Go check the heraldry for Marienburg.
Yeah, so there are a couple of monsters, very few, but a couple will be able to say, "Oh, that's already there, so here's where you can find it." Yada yada. But most of these are unique. So we're gonna get through as many as we can. I have it very simply set up so that I basically just went through both Discords one at a time. So I take like one from LAWhammer, one from Loremaster of Sotek, one from LAWhammer, one from Loremaster of Sotek, and I just did that in the order they were submitted, which I think is more than fair. And if you didn't follow the rules, so like if you didn't submit a picture with it and everything and like a little blurb, then I skipped you. But most people submitted stuff. So
I also have one other large caveat, which we're going to mention here. Whilst we may know some of these that come up, we may even know a few of them very well. The vast majority we're going to look at and go, what the fuck is this thing? And we're going to be relying wholly on the person who posted it. And it's quite likely that in some instances, what they've posted is not the best reflection or best summary for that creature. And that's okay, because we're discussing what they post, not necessarily what the real world equivalent is. So be aware as we go through this, you might land on a couple that makes you go, why the fuck are they saying that about my favorite fantasy or real world creature? It's nothing like that in reality, because obviously all these things are real. We kind of don't care, while simultaneously, obviously we do. We're much more interested in the ideas that you want us to discuss.
Yeah. And that being said, if you missed out on doing the Discord submissions, you can still do Super Chat stuff, but obviously you have to kind of like describe it, which is a little more difficult.
And make sure that you do.
Yeah, I do have just a nice organized list, once again, in a very particular order, but we're going to go ahead and knock out the Super Chats of everyone that started. It is very, very likely we will not get through this entire list. I would say it's borderline.
I intend to be brutal. Yeah. I intend to be brutal, because I would quite like to get through all of them if we could. So I'm going to be brutal. No, that bullshit. Get rid of that.
That would be 3 minutes per monster. I am not betting on that.
I'm not betting on that either, but I'm still going to be brutal.
It is likely we will do this again in the future, assuming we have fun, which I'm sure we will. And if we do that, then we'll just carry on from where we left off. I have it nice and easy organized, so it should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right.
Let me also add that it's for those of you who are just listening to this in terms of listening to it on the podcast side, you're probably going to hear quite a few clatters in the background as I tap away looking up some of these things as we go.
That's fair.
Just be aware, you're probably going to hear it.
Darius Rose, have burrowing behemoths be a giant mylodont sloth. They're known for digging giant caves and having osteoderms. Totally see the Skaven corrupting one. Burrowing.
What's an osteoderm?
I don't know.
I'm going to go check it out. Well, derm is skin. Osteo, presumably some sort of stony type thing. Yeah, bony deposit on scales or plates. So big bony plates. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that, Darius.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was just double checking that my guess, as in it would like be a big bony plate that looked like some sort of stony addition on the next side of the body would be the case, and it kind of is. Love it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of mention of burrowing behemoths, but they're never really described. They're just kind of offhandedly mentioned.
Yeah, a little bit like those great burrowers that you get in Avatar. The big, the badgers? I can't remember the big burrowy things. Yeah, the earth, earth bending.
Yeah. Grim Isaac, because I'm a fan of Little Sea Chaos, which named male elf do you think has given birth before, besides Morvale, the Phoenix King, who probably had one with Mentheus? I feel I can already feel the sniper rifle from Games Workshop leaning in my direction.
Freaking love it. Yeah, I mean, Tyrion is obviously someone's baby daddy.
Yeah. You know, most people think the Everchild was born from Alariel. Actually, no, it was the other way. She's the man in the relationship. As
just want to bring up, thanks, Professor Sharp, Badger moles. I can remember the badger part, but I couldn't remember the mole. Thanks very much. One of the great world building fun parts of Avatar is they always just basically, we need a creature, combine two others, we've got one, woo! Pretty much everything was that, whether it's their bear dogs or whatever.
Hey, I was gonna say, and then there's just a bear. There's a singular bear.
Gotta love Avatar.
Anyway, but yeah, sure. Morvale Menthea sounds great. Sure, sounds awesome. Wonderful. Donna Man, osteoderms being basically small bony pieces with skin. Thought giant ground sloths had them as armor. That'd be cool. Yeah. It would be cool.
There's a big skeleton of a giant ground sloth here in Edinburgh in the Natural History Museum. And I remember the first time I saw it, I must have been about, I don't know, 20, maybe 19. I remember going, oh, it's a sloth. Holy shit, it's huge. Fucking cool. And there's nothing like seeing something big like that to get you going, how could I use this?
Oh, yeah, I'd love them like burrowing through like the mountains of Morn. Because it's got like that nice set of not like not dinosaurs, but like the era after the dinosaurs. Let's see here. Boop. Darius Rose going off Robert Baratheon as a Grail Knight. Oh, this again. Perhaps a stream on characters who would unironically like living in the Warhammer world, just not all psychos. That would have.
It was fine until your last sentence.
Yeah, if they're not psychos, then they're not going to enjoy the Warhammer world.
Yeah, the Warhammer world is a crazy place, man.
I feel like that would be good for like if we ever did something like drunk Lorebeards. That would be like a good topic because that's like that's maybe one day. Ricky Chapman, we submitted 3 creatures in the Discord. Can't wait. Well, I looked at all of them and I did not see any individual person submitted more than one, which was the rule.
Well, he did say we, suggesting that there was more than one of them.
Oh, well, if you were working with a conglomerate, then that could be very
quite. He did, after all, deploy the plural.
Martin Crescent, spoiler, it was not a great idea. No, this is a good idea. It was if I had been smart, I would have said, oh, let's wait for the thing we're going to announce at the end of today's stream. And do it there, because then it'll be so much easier to organize. And my mouth was like, nah. Drusina, Avatar bear doesn't need to be mixed. Bears are perfect as is.
No, it's just a bear. It's just 2 types of bear wrapped up in one. It's a bear.
I think if I remember right, there's even like a joke within it about everyone being people within the setting being freaked out by it because it's just a bear. Like, because it doesn't have the hybridization. It's like considered very odd. All right. So yes, I know someone added the wheel. I appreciate the wheel. However, I have all of these lovely images that I have gone through the effort of putting in a very specific order. So I'm going to use the order that I have, even though the wheel is cool. The wheel is great. If someone had done that like yesterday, I would have used the wheel. But I'm going to do what I have today. I mean, we could use the wheel.
You'd have to find the image each time. If you're willing to do that, then
it's not that hard. I have them all organized by. I can organize them by however I want, and like I've got their names typed up in every single one of them. So like,
well, that's the case. Then it might be worthwhile.
Yeah, sure. You know what? Someone in the community made the effort to make this, and I like y'all more than I like myself. So we'll fine. We'll use the wheel. Okay.
Wait a minute. I can grab the wheel on my side if you want.
Oh, sure. If you want to handle the wheel, that would be great.
And let's see if we've got that. Yes, we do. Let's just double check. There's the mythic wheel.
All right.
Let me just close off all my other windows because we don't need those open. There we go.
I've got like 12 windows open. It's the wheel.
Yeah, in fact, I might be able to just share the. Who cares? I'll do. Let's go with that.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Oh, do we not have the audio for the wheel? I love the wheel audio, but
it's apparently not coming through. At least it's not coming through on my side. So that starts off with Kilgaris, the Black Shock.
The Black Shuck. This one is not as difficult as a lot of the other ones. So we are starting with, let's see, are they in order? They are in order. And the Black Shuck, luckily I did this today, so I know what all the art pieces are. So first up, we have the Black Shuck.
He's on a stamp.
That's how you know he's legit.
With King Charles. Look at him in profile. Well, hello.
He's a very official piece. And this creature was submitted by Kilgaris over on the LAWhammer Discord, which means, and because I have these all in order, I know where to zoom to in the chat where I can read off the stuff you put with it, because I spent a couple of hours today being organized. So Kilgaris has the Black Shuck, a more localized version of the general black dogs in folklore, a massive shaggy black hound, sometimes a demonic omen of death, sometimes a silent companion when you're lost in the countryside. There are endless accounts of it with varying meanings put behind its appearance and different aspects of its appearance. I think it would do well in the Mists of Albion or maybe in the wasteland around Marienburg.
So, yes. If we're looking at your classic black dog, as in big fuck-off black dog that terrorizes in some fashion or another, or occasionally in some unexpected situations may help. There's variations of that across UK mythology, loads of them. And they all manifest in slightly different ways, dark shadows in the night that you should be scared of. And they are a classic inspiration for a great deal of Warhammer creatures as a whole, into Talum, as in those slightly mythic creatures that sit on the edge. Now, dogs have already, to a degree, been picked up by Khorne and used by Khorne relatively heavily. So whenever you're adding something new... Well, hounds, yeah. Well, dogs, hounds, it's the same sort of thing. Whenever you're adding something new, you often have to have a reason if we're adding something that's supernatural when you're not doing something that's Khorne related. Elves, for example, the wood elves in particular, have lots of houndy stuff attached to them, although they tend not to go too much on the spiritual side. They tend to go with physical, gigantic hounds going on wild hunts and the like. Although there is that sort of hint that they are a bit more fey than they're not. I think the idea of this fits very well in terms of your classic folklore, but ultimately, if you're making it for Warhammer, you don't want it to just be another folkloric creature. It needs to be something that's a bit more. How do we dial this up to 11?
So, one of the things I think I believe this is also like the black dog that they used in like for the Harry Potter thing that inspired that whole storyline and all that. One of the things I find particularly interesting about it is it acting as this omen of dread or a creature that appears in like deep fogs and mists and things. Because there are different ways you can go with it. If you have it being more leaning into its prophetic element, where it's something you see before you die, or it's something that is a genuine omen that exists to warn, having it be some form of, we have a lot of spirits in fantasy as far as like ghosts and stuff, but it's a little, they all tend to be very humanoid in most of the writings that we have.
There's a reason for that. It's because they're actual ghosts of spirits. They're not just random spirits that wander around doing shit. They all come from existing souls. When you tend to find most of the nature-aligned ones, the ones that are spirits but not ghosties, are attached to more natural things. This would have to be, if we're going down the spiritual route, more likely to be something like a nature spirit of some kind. Yeah,
so I do like what some people are putting down of like an idea of like a dog of war or a hound of war.
Hard.
Oh, because he's
okay.
his bird.
Because Mor already has a sacred creatures and other gods have got other sacred creatures. We do not cross the streams. We don't use hounds. Hounds are the province of Khorne. They just are. And if we try to make them the dogs of someone else, you are, in many aspects, diluting both gods. You're diluting the simplicity of Mor and Khorne. So I would say hard no in both cases. Don't turn this into some form of divine aspect. If we're going for the wild animals, the ones that haven't been tamed by Khorne, you then move on to the wolf side. Wolves are, again, strongly associated with gods in Warhammer already. So we don't really want to mix this up. And if you really want to tie it to the more divine route, then I would suggest it's going to be Khorne, not another god. And it's going to be standing against Ulrich, as in that classic. This is the Black Hound against the White Wolves of Ulrich.
I got some. So this would have a somewhat tragic angle, but it's Warhammer. What I could see this being a particularly interesting creature for is on if there were like myths and rumors of things of that in battlefields where people used like hounds and wild dogs and stuff, where like they would just let dogs off to go harass and attack, and they're massacred and killed. But these creatures that were raised by people and all they know is killing. They were raised to be violent. They were raised to fight. They were raised to be these ferocious creatures, and that when they die in these battlefields, all that drawing in of Shyish and everything, that sometimes they manifest as these spirits around the battlefields that haunt them and hunt people.
That works quite nicely. Yeah, that works quite nicely as well. Ties into the darkness of them too. Tying it in with Shyish is perfect. Tying it into the graveyards and the battlefields where they come from, that works really nicely too. Also gives you a reason to have them be particularly violent. They don't understand that they're dead yet. They've not yet moved on. They are violent, they're trying to eat and they can't eat, their hunger is never sated because they have no physical bodies anymore. We've got ourselves exceedingly dangerous ghost dogs. That feels quite Warhammer.
Yep, I super like
that. So the answer is Black Shuck, yes.
Yep. All right, we're going to keep things moving. Let's spin the wheel again.
Okay, let's bring up our wheel. Here it comes. We need to get rid of that one first, though. Remove. We're both doing it at the same time there. And spin the wheel. Here it comes. And again, if you've got one that you want to have us look at, we're only doing the ones that we've got pre-prepared or those that come in with super chats now. So if you're sitting out there desperate for one, you can super chat us if you want. Golden Chaos, the Avank. Oh my goodness, I'm going to pronounce this badly.
Apparently.
Avank. Thanks.
Yeah, apparently it's more like a V. Okay.
Avank sounds good. Well, the VF shift makes sense.
Yeah. Avank was near the
Avank.
There you are. This one's pretty cool. Whoop.
Yes. Next.
This one. But let's give him the full treatment. Okay, I just had you. Where'd you go? I'm looking for green. Nope, not you. There you are. Golden Chaos, also in the LAWhammer Discord. But this one was further back. There we are. Golden Chaos, the Avank. In modern Welsh, Avonk is simply the name for the real-life beaver. Hilarious. But the name also crops up in Welsh mythology to refer to a lake monster that appears in numerous tales. Descriptions of its appearance vary from being beaver-like, crocodilian, a dwarf-like creature, and in some versions is a demon. The lakes the creature is said to inhabit are generally located in north and central Wales, where the terrain is quite mountainous. There are many different versions of the story found across many time periods. The most commonly known version of the tale has the Avonk be the cause of local floods that wash away cattle and destroy crops around the river Conwy. The community eventually decided they must deal with this problem, so a smith is commissioned to forge a special chain, and they send for the strongest oxen in Wales. Knowing that the horrible monsters have a soft spot for pretty ladies, a local farmer's daughter volunteers to be the bait. Of course. And once the Avonk is lured to the shore, she sends it to sleep with a lullaby. The local men then have the opportunity to bind the Avonk with a prepared chain and manage to complete the job just before the Avonk awakens. Enraged, it dives back into the water. In earlier versions, the farmer's daughter dies here, not being able to get away in time. And for extra tragedy, sometimes the smith is her sweetheart. But the locals have already hitched change to the oxen. Everyone working together managed to drag the monster out of the water. After discovering they cannot kill it because its hide is too tough, they drag it to a lake high in the mountains from which it cannot escape.
So this is easy. Yes.
Yeah, this one I think...
my only extra addition would be there's no need for it to be particularly demonic. There's no need for it to be anything other than a dam building, river moving monster that has all manner of local legends attached to it. Oh, it likes women. No, it's just a monster doing its thing. It's just a big creature doing its funky thing up there, and it's going to flood everything is just, again, fears of farmers at large beaver-like lakes getting built, or flooding alternatively sometimes, because that's possibly how they gather a lot of their food, by drowning things. Except it's bigger, so we're going to have ourselves a horrendous creature that has itself lodges that are filled with half-rotting carcasses that is dragged in there. I don't think we really need to make it that much bigger than what it already is. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, this one I think would benefit from making it in some ways lesser than its original version, where the original one seems to be almost like a singular terrifying entity. This one I think could work very, very well, as it's just a fairly common critter in certain parts of the world.
Perhaps a lizardine one for extra detail. As in, it's got extra lizard details on top of what appears to be mammalian traits. But I see no reason why this doesn't need to be largely just dialed down as to what it is, and it could be found in rivers in a host of different quarters in the old world. I'm happy with it as is.
Yeah, big, angry, somewhat reptilian Warhammer beaver. Perfect. I really don't think there's that much to add. It would be perfect in certain parts of Bretonnia, certain parts of the Empire, Albion and stuff. Yeah, great, awesome.
It's great, love it. Good shout for that one. Next, we have ourselves from Roderick just got in there at the end. The Yarama Yahoo. Yarama Yahoo.
So this one looked pretty interesting.
Your second choice is more developed by someone else in Sotek Discord, so I just ripped the cord on this list. Yarama Yahoo. I'm almost certainly pronouncing that wrong. Apologies to my Australian buddies.
Where did I put you? I know you're on here because I had to type out that whole damn name. It's amazing how you can just look at what feels like too many letters and everything kind of just molds to... Where the fuck did I put it?
Well, while you're doing that, I'll bring up a couple of super chats as we go.
Yes,
to quote Eric Andre, assuming I'm pronouncing his name right, "Oh, hey, it's time for the Wheel of Prizes." I don't know this quotation. I don't watch TV. So I'm going to presume that that's a quotation that all of you know out there. I
don't.
Tradition! The Grogok is a very hairy, naked, mischievous creature that detests cleanliness, lives near people, and often helps with farm work, paid in cream and milk. Very Fey-like in tone, the idea of something that is paid with cream, milk,
that's cool
those
looking.
Easily grabs. You looking up, are you?
Yeah.
How does it look?
Yeah, it's like a really hairy dude. 1 second, I'll grab him, put him up on screen real fast.
Oh yeah, I see it there. It's an Irish fairy.
Yeah,
as I say, very fey-like. You can tell from its description. So Fey-like entities, we generally don't use outside of places like inside the established old world, outside of Bretonia. It sort of fits in Bretonia, but sort of doesn't, given the tone that Bretonia has. So if we did an expanded Albion, you could perhaps move it into somewhere like that, and possibly into some Irish equivalent corner of Albion, but I am not sure it's necessarily the best fit for how Warhammer tends to work today, where whimsy and simple creatures that help you out are not a core component of what really Warhammer does. It tends to be a little bit grimmer and a little bit nastier. It's not simply milk that it's after something else, and it's not helping out for a reason. It's trying to do something, possibly steal something, possibly be awful. So as it stands, Sedition, I probably wouldn't use it as is, but I might consider using it as a basis for something potentially much more horrific.
Yeah, I do think there could actually be something you could mess with on it, of being a spirit that, like, the fact that it detests cleanliness, I think could be played around with, where the creature is much more sinister than it initially appears, because it is sort of a precursor to far worse things coming. Like, it could almost be something that, like, presages, like, pestilence and filth and all that other stuff, because it, like, actively works against, like, if somewhere is being meticulously cleaned and kept nice, like, I could see it being a place that is notably drawn to, like, trying to corrupt and ruin temples, which are, like, places that are often scrubbed and trying to be kept clean, or it's drawn to places where there's, like, lots of people in good health and things like that. So it's kind of, it could make for, like, an interesting non-Nurgle, but still demon that's,
I think you definitely want to do that. I would probably, as much as this sounds a bit daft, given that we're often talking about dialing everything up to 11, I would probably, if we're going to do that, ground it more in reality and make it a real creature rather than a fey creature. Something where there is lots of things associated with it in terms of myth, but in reality, it's just a normal thing. And then build from there something that doesn't have standard cleanliness. There's something potentially there, but I think it needs a good bit more development to land.
It actually being a really, based on how it looks, I could actually seeing it being a really cool split off from Beastmen. When you think about how much Beastmen hate civilization, cleanliness isn't natural. That's something that civilization imposes on the world. So the idea that it's a type of Beastman, but and if you really Warhammer,
I disagree with cleanliness not being natural. You clearly don't have cats.
I think
cleanliness is very natural in that it's anti-disease. It's just some animals don't require it because they themselves are naturally tougher or less susceptible to various types of diseases. I think there's something there. I'm not sure I would use it as is, though.
Yeah, I would definitely mess around with it.
Totes.
All right,
so before we go, let's get back to where we were.
Yeah, so we've got our Yarmayahu. So this...
Holy shit.
This cool-looking little guy. So the Yarmayahu is a creature from Southern Australia Aboriginal folklore that they heard about on a podcast they really enjoy. It's a smallish creature that likes to hide in trees, waiting for a weary traveler to rest beneath them. When they do, the Yarmayahu then lowers down its incredibly long fingers and drains the victim's blood through suckers on its fingertips. Ugh! What? I don't know if we need to do anything to it. That
sounding great so far. It's got some pretty heavy connections to the giant leeches that are already in Warhammer. The giant leeches in Warhammer often hang from trees also. So if you happen to be galloping by in a horse, the leech will just attach itself to the horse or possibly to you. And because it's got a natural, what's the word for it? Anesthetic. That's the word I was looking for. A natural anesthetic inside its saliva. You don't even feel it attaching. So it's very likely. Am I still here? Yes, I am. I just got myself a quick pop-up over my screen. Clearly looking at things online wasn't a good idea there. So that natural anesthetic means that you don't notice that you've got your blood getting sucked out by often a 2 or 3 foot long leech, because you just don't feel it until you start getting lightheaded and you lose it and the leech then falls off. So we've already got something in Warhammer that sort of does that, but this does it in a far more calculated, more monstrous route. And I think this sort of kind of fits as it stands.
Yeah, I love the idea of it being like an active predator that looks for people and I would definitely, if I was going to Warhammerify it up, I would definitely give it some ability where it's able to fatigue people or make people tired or like lull them to sleep through some sort of ability that it has, or like some sort of either an
You're going to have to do something to stop them getting chopped up. Because if you are going against humanoid creatures with humanoid intelligence, the second you lower those fingers down, they're just going to pull out a sword and chop them off. Which means that you're going to, much like the giant leeches, have to have something that allows you to not feel that it's happening to you. So, for example, if you're sleeping and its tentacles come writhing down with its big, extraordinarily long fingers and start sucking your blood out as you're camping away, you'll need to have some sort of anesthesia built into it. And that works quite neatly. Again, though, if we're assuming that it's predating from using its big, long, gribbly fingers, it's unlikely to be a killer in that it's going to look to take your blood and keep you alive so it can take your blood again later. So anesthesia is likely, perhaps some sort of hallucinogenic added to it so that you don't actually quite see what's really going on. You might dream that something else is occurring while it's fingering you, so to speak, and taking your blood away. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool creature, but for it to work and to actually be an effective hunter, it's going to need to do something to stop people basically just running away or hurting it.
What I would recommend doing with this creature is developing it to have a symbiotic relationship with like a unique type of like magical or Warhammer tree, like a tree that that like gives off spores or does something that lulls creatures to sleep when they're near it. And this creature has some sort of...
The problem with that is that it's too obvious. Anyone with intelligence will see it. They'll see that particular tree. They'll know the spores. And the Warhammer world's not like the real world. The real world has got a single species that can figure this shit out. And it's humans. Everyone else just sort of bumbles along working to their instincts. Humans do the same, let's be honest. But the Warhammer world is filled with multiple sentient entities. And if you've got yourself danger woods with danger suckers, they're going to be cut down. And you've got to remember that the forests are not empty in the Warhammer world. They're just full of things like orcs and beastmen and various others. And there's an obvious way to avoid them. They're going to avoid them or cut them down. They're going to cut them down. So generally, you're going to need to ensure that there's some form of camouflaging aspect to it. Trees is really good.
Or have like a
paralytic touch is a good one, Matt, for example.
Yeah.
A paralytic touch helps. But ultimately, we're also looking, because we want these to be an interesting bad guy to encounter. This means that if we're doing it for a role-play game, for example, that paralytic touch can't be permanent. It's got to be relatively short-lived. As long as it's touching, you're paralyzed, which means if you go off by yourself, you're in danger. But if you go off with a group, you're more likely to avoid the worst that it has to offer. Yeah, there's lots of different things that you could do with that. You could even tie it to some local myths basically saying, never go out by yourself, because if you do, you're going to effectively fall asleep and you'll wake up groggy as fuck and all your blood's gone and it's all gone a bit wrong with big huge pucker marks all over your body where your blood has been sucked out.
Yeah, it would do a good way of like having certain parts of like the world where people are like you have to sleep under a roof. You cannot sleep out beneath the trees because it's exhausting. Of like you won't be able to rest properly.
Okay, we're doing the opposite of doing this quickly.
I know. Well, if we have to do a part 2, it's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. Okay, before you spin the real quick, I'm just going to grab like 2 super chats.
Okay, right. I'm spinning the wheel as you go.
Very fun. Kornshima, if the Tengu was introduced into Warhammer, would you prefer them to be Chaos Alliance? Each would be the obvious choice, or Order Neutral? I tend to prefer my creatures as much as possible to just be natural spirits or beasts of the world as it is. Like, you can chaosify them a little bit, but I try really hard not to introduce, like, oh, they're aligned with a major power.
I mean, I don't just agree. I hard agree. You got to remember that if we went by Warhammer logic, then things like giraffes and elephants are chaos creatures. In that anything that looks like it's a bit strange and elongated and weird is clearly a chaos creature, like a hippogriff or something like that. These aren't chaos creatures. In the Warhammer world, hippogriffs, they originally were. Things like manticores, hippogriffs, griffins, all of those were they came from chaos. Originally, the world was one way, and then magic came and changed them into lots of other things. Over time, they went, all those creatures are just creatures that live. Dragons are just dragons. Hippogriffs are just hippogriffs. Manticores are just manticores. They're part of the existing Warhammer world as it is. There are some creatures that have been perverted, I suppose, by chaos over time, but even they have become stable species in their own right. Equally, I don't like doing that at all, in the slightest.
Undertaker, real quick, I don't have it set up for StreamYards, but thank you. I saw it. I'll read it off real quick. Thank you for the $5 tip. Damn, I just saw this one today. I would have had a suggestion, not from mythology, but from a game. Maybe there'll be another round for submissions. Mentioned once ago, Dragon Quest XI's Gloomnivore eats despair, which keeps the victim alive for decades. Oh, so it like makes them Gloomnivore.
As I remember, because I played Dragon Quest, it's like a big, huge six-legged thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a big six-legged tiger with wings.
Yeah, I just said more lion, but yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, lion. I just saw cat.
Yeah, there it is, right there. I just there it is.
That's a cool creature. I mean, you could very easily have that just be like a particular breed of manticore, like a unique one that shows up in the distant north or in a certain area. That would be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Alrighty, so Ashkal?
Yes. So Ashkal, who's man, him and a lot of folks have been so busy on their little Fishman thread. It is wild how much work they've been doing on Fishman stuff.
Cheers to that.
Like they're making a whole faction. They're just busying away over on the LAWhammer Discord. But he has submitted the Wolpertinger. Tinger. So this is German folklore. So this totally not jackalope looking thing. They only show themselves to women. So many creatures are women specific in real world mythology for some reason. They only show themselves to women on a full moon if they're in the forest with the right man, signaling that the bloke would be a good potential husband. So basically a litmus test for dickheads. No two Wolpertinger are the same, as they're the result of various woodland beasts having a shag. So if a squirrel pumps a fox, you get a Wolpertinger. Although they're commonly shown as a bunny with antlers, wings, and fangs. That's the most common sighting. All true sightings of Wolpertinger are thought to be rabbits with show papillomavirus. Oh yeah, the rabbits with horns. I've seen that. It's nasty looking. They live in dark forests and are very secretive little shits. I personally thought they'd be a fantastic little mount for the gnomes. But you do you, brother.
Hard no that one. Tinger, pardon me. So I like aspects of this. But I would probably make it far darker and far meaner and involve Beastmen. Because it's already drawing upon similar myths to Beastmen, which is the idea of two creatures bedding down and creating a new creature, which is some horrendous mix of the other two. So I would probably be attaching it to that, and possibly even attaching it to some sort of spiritual entity that shamans work through, and how they are attempting to tempt women from nearby villages and similar to impregnate them with beastmen or something equally horrible. If you're looking for horrible and nasty, you could easily go down that route. If you want to make, because I mean, beastmen do this shit. Beastmen are horrible, horrible creatures. And whilst the official books tend to dance around the subject, when you're dealing with Khorne and Slanesh, and they are chaos worshipping peoples, they're going to do stuff that no rational person would ever consider to be good. And drawing in nasty spirits like this to help them do all of their horrible things seems par for the course. And making it almost a mythic entity, which is good according to local tradition, works relatively well with that.
You know what you could do also to make this thing really fucked, is if merely by seeing it, if like a man and a woman are together and it's a full moon of Morslib, and if you happen to see this creature, it guarantees that their union will produce a mutant.
Yeah, that's the sort of shit you're looking for. Truly awful. Yeah, I quite like that.
Like, that would be spicy, especially like people that don't know or people that ignore it.
Yeah. That's horrible.
All right. It is wheel spinning time while I grab the next super chat.
Okay, let's move that one and bring up the next one. Are we ready?
Gojira! If we ever get into pod, there better be a fucking Godzilla monster, or I'm going to scream. Like, come on.
Power cow. The Kyurinrin?
For a second, I thought the monster was Power Cow, and I was like, there was not a Power Cow, though that sounds awesome. Yes, the Kyurinrin. I really like this one. This one's actually really cool. Power Crow, yep, on the Loremaster of Sotek side. Let me scroll up. This one I think would be really fun. Let me scroll up. Oh my gosh. Almost there. There he is. So, the Kyurinrin, essentially, this is a yokai manifesting from scrolls, books, scriptures, etc. that have been neglected or forgotten. Think a lost or disused library gaining sentience and form. Here for the picture, the Kyurinrin is a spirit of knowledge formed from ancient scrolls, books, and scriptures that have left unstudied by their owners and gathering dust. Kyurinrin are often extravagant. They decorate themselves with the most ornate volume scrolls, wearing them like a kimono. A scroll with tassels becomes the headpiece, and they develop bird-like beaks and long, extendable arms. Oh, that does sound very Zinchian. Behavior: compelled by the wisdom of the ages, the volumes that make up a Kyurinrin rise up as a dragon-like spirit. The Kyurinrin use their elongating arms to assault the ignorant owners who left such priceless treasures and knowledge found into disuse. Is it a local Nipponese spirit, or is it from some ancient elven library full of magical books getting angry at being forgotten, or lost dwarf tomes from the time of ancestors, though it definitely feels like there's some Zinch tomfoolery going on.
I don't even think it needs Zinch. The immediate response by most is chaos! Let's make it chaos for almost every creature you see. I don't think it's needed. You just need to have a very spiritually alive Nippon, which is what you'd imagine it would be. I'm quite happy pressing Control X and then pressing Control C and just Warhammerifying it this slightly. It'll do.
Really, Andy? You would Control X and then Control C?
Yeah, Control X, Control C.
You mean Control X, Control V?
Maybe. Because C's just going to copy it.
Yes,
Control V. Control V. Control X, Control V. That's better. Or yes, Control C, Control V. Holy shit, what's wrong with me today? It's been a long day, all right?
He wanted to cut and copy. One of the things I really like about this is this, I think, would actually be a much more Warhammer solution than we have in the universe for people that get grimoires and then lose them. Like tomes that literally gather large amounts of magic and are lost or forgotten, or you have like big rotting libraries. Like I would expect to come across these in places like Nippon all over the place, and there would be a lot of stuff about Nippon there. But I think this would be one of those creatures that you could even kind of mess with it a little bit and have it pop up in other places of the world that you might not expect.
I wouldn't.
Really?
I wouldn't. No, really wouldn't, because it starts to undermine what the Warhammer world is. And the Warhammer world is split between spiritually alive, active areas and that which are, by comparison, spiritually dead and only really come alive when the winds of magic blow through. And even the most magical areas aren't the same as, say, Athaloran or Nippon or Albion, all of which are very spiritually alive. This feels like something that's coming about because it's spiritually alive rather than because magic itself has perverted, changed, and twisted things. So if we're making a spiritually active part, I wouldn't make it occur outside of places like Nippon. I would make it somewhere else, Nippon specific.
Yeah, you're right. What I would change what I said to that I think would be fun is this would make a very good adventure hook monster for a Nipponese thing that was given to someone that has traveled across the world.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
And it comes alive in a weird place.
Rather like that.
A lot of fun with that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, this is great. The fact that like the Nipponese would be like extremely strict about how knowledge is preserved and like what things can and cannot be written down because shit like this can happen would have like a very unique influence on how they record knowledge, which would be fascinating. It would make visiting there very strange.
Yeah, agreed. you wouldn't want to be deploying this everywhere because it would lessen the spirit aspect of it. Unless we didn't make it spirit and we made it a magical aspect. If, for example, this is what happens when something is magically infused with stuff, then yeah, sure, but then this is something that would happen all over the place in the old world, in all of the old grimoires, in all the various places. To be constantly trying to ensure that they didn't wake up and start talking to everyone and telling about spells from ages and lore. That'd be a bit weird, and it doesn't really fit the existing Warhammer world as we know it. But it does fit a part of the Warhammer world which hasn't been detailed, so we could easily drop it into Nippon, for example, without any difficulty at all.
Yep. And then it makes it a lot more like, holy shit, when it does happen somewhere else because a piece of Nipponese scripture or whatever has traveled.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let me grab another super chat while you're spinning here. Fire Snake looked up the weird vampire monkey thing, and apparently 8 people whole after sucking their blood, later puking them up completely fine, but they're shorter. Eventually, they turn into one after repeated attacks.
Fire Snake. Oh, some monsters are proper crazy.
That is the most bizarre. Man, that's the things. That's cool. I mean, I would definitely add that. Man, that would be such a cool creature just running around. Man, that's scary though. Like, it tries to basically get you multiple times. Ugh. Boy.
Nachtalb, I presume, is the username. Is that right?
No, Nachtalb is.
Is it the other way around?
Yes, Nachtalb is the monster.
So Nachtalb is a monster. Good, because that means I don't need to go with Tartaru Stromler and have to say it.
I just realized that I'm such a dummy for keeping this in the order it is. If I make it by name, I can now find it much
alphabetical. Faster. Would be much easier
instead of in the order it was submitted. So we have. Oh yeah, this one's one of the spooky dark ones.
Okay, so cool.
We have the Nachtalb sitting on these poor ladies. So this is from the LAWhammer submission form. And I just gotta scroll down to the entry. Nope, that's not it. Nope. It's near the bottom, I think. There you are. All right. Tartarus Stromler adds, took a while to remember to have said it doesn't really have an obvious equivalent. The Nachtalb, believed to be some type of night fairy or night elf, is a creature from German folklore, though it probably came down from somewhere in Scandinavia. It is a creature that breaks into your home while you sleep, typically through the keyhole or a knot hole in the wooden floor or walls. It then sits on the sleeper's chest where it induces breathing problems with its weight and causes nightmares. In some versions, it also steals milk or blood, in the case of men, from the nipples of the sleeper. In others, it steals the breath of life. Sometimes it's just a dick for no reason at all. Its appearance is typically of a small humanoid with black skin and big eyes. I think this makes for a really good spirit.
I wouldn't bother. It's an Ungor. It's I would just make it a messed up rumor of Ungors, and seeing Ungors in the forest, seeing what appears to be shorter beastmen, presuming there's something else, and the folkloric stories that have built around it. There's one of the mistakes of Warhammer is to assume that everybody's right about everything. And when you read a story that they understand what's going on, there's all sorts of crazy peasant stories about the things that live in the forest and how they steal your milk, or they steal your blood, or they steal your breath, or they steal your whatever. I think this is a perfect example of local peasants getting it wrong. I don't think you need another thing.
What I think I like about this is I like the idea of peasants blaming something like an Ungor for sleep paralysis, because that's what it is. This is literally just sleep paralysis.
This is someone who's got heart problems as well, or something else, and they're like, oh, it's that thing in the forest I saw creeping around. It was it that did it. Yeah, sure it was. You're just ill, dude. I'm getting old.
Yeah, I think this is one I would include like as a rumor that the peasantry talk about, and then you have like an educated man or wizard that's like, no, they're idiots. They just have medical problems.
Yeah, totally. I'm also going to bring up a comment here just so we catch it. Do we know when this channel will be getting super chat functionality? Very soon. We're in the process right now of just waiting for everything to line up properly. We want it to happen more than you do, trust me, because we like getting paid so that we can have dinner. Dinner's good, eating's good, paying bills is good, but as it currently stands, it's still not quite set up properly. We're hoping, fingers crossed, by next week, but we can't be certain until other people get everything sorted.
Yeah, we're in the part where like certain governments and businesses have to do their part.
Yep.
It takes time.
It's a pain in the ass waiting for other people to get things sorted. But we're really almost there. We're really close. The second we're close, we'll be making quite a number of announcements.
Dynaman, while this round of submissions focused on fictionary and legendary monsters, you could have another version focused on unusual, living, and extinct animals, which could be added in Warhammerified. Maybe in the distant future. I don't think we'd do anything like that super soon.
The issue, Dynaman, is that anything that's unusual and living is in the Warhammer world. I mean, it just is. Everything that we have in the real world is in the Warhammer world. And anything that is currently extinct could also be somewhere in the Warhammer world. So it would be less of a, what do we think of these things? And more of a, yep, this thing exists. Yep, this is a creature that existed once. We could use that. Yep, this one exists. And it would be less of a yes or no, or this is how we'd interweave the myths of what it might be.
Yeah, also, to go back to the other thing real quick, the reason that we're dual streaming, so we're doing, today we're on the Loremaster of Sotek and Lorebeards simultaneously, is to keep, the super chat functionality open. As soon as it's available on Lorebeards, then we're purely over.
Yeah. So make sure, if you haven't done already, go over and subscribe to the Lorebeards channel, because that's where we're going to be. Pretty much permanently. It's going to be great.
Jonathan Scott, how about a cobra chicken, aka the Canadian goose? Funny you say that. There's a certain creature that if we land on, you'll see. You'll see. All right, spin the wheel.
Spinning that wheel. We have got ourselves.
Looks like Giga wins.
Yeah, it does look like Giga wins. The drop bear. Okay, here we go with the drop bear.
Yeah, this one is.
Reminds me of the haggis. Killer drop bear koala.
So the totally real, the most dangerous creature in Australia, for anyone that has not had the misfortune of encountering these nightmarish horrors, is in fact the drop bear, which is 100% real. Anyone who says otherwise is lying. The drop bear, sometimes simply just drop bear, is a hoax in contemporary Australian folklore featuring a predatory carnivorous version of the koala. This imaginary animal is commonly spoken about in tall tales designed to scare tourists. While koalas are typically docile herbivores and are not, in fact, bears, drop bears are described as unusually large and vicious marsupials that inhabit treetops and attack unsuspecting people or other prey that walk beneath them by dropping onto their heads from above.
Basically, this is a Warhammer creature. It should happen.
Yeah,
whenever they go, I mean, this is the equivalent of the Razor Bill. If you don't know what the Razor Bill is, it's a killer puffin. This is the killer koala. It's 100% Warhammer. We need go no further. We're done.
Yeah, this one's already been Warhammerified. That's literally just what it is.
Yeah, this is good to go. I'm happy.
Yep, and yes, in Warhammer, you could absolutely have it that if it bites your character, you roll a toughness test, and if you fail, you get chlamydia.
Quite right, too. It's Durgash is rowing something. A rowing mauler from AD&D.
Rowing mauler. Ooh, gosh. Okay, so we've got... Let me go into my thing here. Rowing... That one does not ring a bell to me, so hopefully I did somehow...
I don't know the rowing mauler. I'll admit I don't know AD&D frightfully well. Been a long time since I read an AD&D book. So this is going to be a new one for me.
I don't remember where... Oh, yeah, I remember this one. This one's so weird. This one is super weird.
Holy shit! It rolls along.
Yeah, it's literally a wheel made out of lion. That's right. That's why I barely remember it, because I looked at it and was like, "What?" Zergash did not add any other context. He said, "Oh no, here he is." He says, "Yes, it's 150% stupid." It's literally just a lion on wheels.
I mean, this is the sort of shit that, you could have as a mutant. Some sort of crazed mutant creature that came about could end up like this. So it's 100% the sort of thing that you might get in Warhammer. This shit happens. Is this something that we'd want to make a stable species? I mean, how the fuck does this thing even mate? What's going on with it? I don't understand what its organs are. Everything about this thing just makes me go, I don't understand.
This is a great random guy that turned into this.
yeah. So this really feels like a mutant, an individual character. Then, yes, it fits. Otherwise, fuck this guy.
Prince of Brass. It looks like someone made heraldry into an animal. That poor creature. That poor creature. All right, spin the wheel.
Here comes the wheel. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, it's from the Ars Goetia. That makes sense. The Ars Goetia has weird looking things in it.
Oh, it's Hellfear on the Geryon.
Oh, the Geryon.
Don't know the Geryon either.
All right, so here we go. Geryon. G. That's in.
Oh no, I do know the Geryon. There's nothing like looking something up and going, oh, that.
Yeah, so Geryon is a individual that we're using, but we're making into a monster type. So this is from LAWhammer Discord. I think it was towards the bottom. Yes, it was towards the bottom. Scroll. Thank you for all the submissions, by the way, guys. There was quite a few. We were happy to see y'all were excited. I went too far. God damn it. No, that's the rabbits. That's that thing. That's that thing. That's that thing. Where is Geryon? Nope.
You're doing well there. You're 100% on top of this.
No, this must be on the Loremasters. I thought, that's right, because I assumed. And you know what assuming does? Hellfire. Or Hellfear. In Greek mythology, Geryon was a powerful winged giant with, he's missing those wings. With 3 bodies.
I don't know his winged.
And 4 wings who lived on the Isle of Erythea. He was the son of Kirsaror and Calero and the grandson of Medusa. Some sources describe him as having 3 heads and 1 body, while others say he had 3 bodies. Geryon is well known for owning a herd of red cattle guarded by his 2-headed dog.
Two-headed dog.
And the herdsman Eurytion. Unfortunately, he fought Hercules, and it's Hercules. He didn't make it. If we were to put it into Warhammer, could you imagine him being a sort of divine servant of some god? Perhaps.
So I'm going to cut in. I've done this already. But I didn't make it a divine servant of a god or anything similar, because this is already an existing trope within Warhammer. A single individual having more than 1 body. It's a mutation. This is a mutant. This is somebody who's got more than 1 body. In LAWhammer, which is the game that we ran a set of cultists in the background. And one of those cultists had this exact mutation. He had 3 bodies. And it was how they were doing multiple things. One of the bodies died. Truly, truly traumatic for that individual mutant, as one part of all of his existence was wiped out, and the other 2 had to carry on without that part that had been killed. And to a degree, it was based upon the Greek myth already. The Greek myth is an individual. It's not a species or anything similar, nor is it a divine servant per se. I would stick with exactly what it is. It's a mutant. We don't need to go any further. We've already got everything that we need. We've got a 2-headed dog who's also a mutant in tow. I think we can fit that in with ease.
Yeah, I would a guy that lives in a place that has high corruption, and he mutated and he lives there, and he's managed to scrouch off a life for himself. Is just trying to live his life, and then
it makes for a super interesting story as well when you've got somebody who looks identical who can appear in 3 different places at once doing 3 different things. There's some really fun story hooks that can be used out of that, particularly if all 3 bodies experience everything at the same time, so they all can speak with one voice. They all know what the other parts are doing, which gives them some significant powers and utility at a game table or a book.
Yeah, he's basically just Village the Curseling +1. Sure. You're not wrong.
Cool. Alrighty. What do we have next? We have.
What it would be like if Ratman existed. Don't be ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I mean, there's some things that we'll take on, but just note to that. Hey, Dynaman, you've got your Simurgh.
The Simurgh, it honestly shocks me the Simurgh is not in Warhammer. Also, thank you, Dynaman, for finding some really cool art.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Simurgh. Okay,
I don't know the Simurgh, I don't think.
Say what?
I don't know this one.
I do. It's a very cool creature. So the Simurgh. This is a benevolent giant bird-like creature from Iranian mythology. The first artistic depictions are from around the 200s AD, while the first written mentions are from a Zoroastrian text from the 500s. However, while most common in Iranian/Persian art and literature, it also appears in other neighboring cultures such as Armenian, Georgia, the Kurds, and the Eastern Roman Empire. While it originated in the Parthian or Sassanarian areas, also forgive me for all the mispronunciations I'm probably vomiting out, it has since remained a popular symbol of Iranian identity long into the creature itself is a gigantic bird described as being large enough to lift an elephant or even a whale. It has the body of a peacock, usually, although other birds are sometimes used, the feet and claws of a lion, the head of a dog or human. I prefer the dog version, according to Dynaman. It is always a benevolent creature, and being part mammal, they suckle their young. They typically live in habitats with plenty of water, and in some versions, it has feathers the color of copper. It's said that the Simurgh is so ancient that they've seen the destruction of the world many times over and have all the knowledge of the ages past. They also have the ability to purify water and bring fertility to the land. It is also seen as a great messenger between the land and sky, and as the divine tree known as the home, the first plant. When the Simurgh took flight, the seeds of all the plants from the earth were shaken from the branches. Just fast forwarding through here. The most famous appearance is the epic poem Shahnameh, the Book of Kings, written by the famous Iranian writer for Dowsey between 977 and 10 AD. In the story, King Sam had an albino son named Zal. He was so ashamed he abandoned the child in the mountain Al-Burz. The Simurgh heard the infant's cries and raised Zal as her own. He learned much when he grew to be an adult. He decided to return to humanity. The Simurgh assisted him. Zal returned, married a woman. She became pregnant with labor as long as hers. Okay. All right. So to go through this, I love this creature. If you do enough research into like Middle Eastern critters, like monsters and stuff, it'll usually come up. And it has a lot of really iconic, cool designs. I think there is very much a story that could be done with this one that I'd want to spend some time on it, of being like a creature that was really, really well known and beloved in like pre-Nagash Nehekara, when Nehekara was beautiful and boundless.
No, you can't put it there. You can't mix up Egypt with Iran. Or even Persia or any of the equivalent. They're so far apart. No, you'd need to go over the mountains onto the other side. And I go further. I would be looking more at the southern lands where we now know there's various human tribes and similar. Over in the Darklands, definitely. So I'd move over there. But I agree entirely. This is a 100% brilliant fit.
Yeah, the dark. Actually, yeah, and he has a good point. The southern Darklands, they're starting to develop more and more as like it has culture. People have been there for thousands of years. And there's even in the Cathay book, they were even making some allusions that there are like ancient peoples there, not just like, oh, it's old Nehekara. Like there were people there before then. And the idea that the Darklands is always associated with, oh, well, there's only like the horrible monsters of the northern part of the Darklands where you have like your flying big monsters and all that other stuff. But the southern Darklands is not an impossible horror in the modern age. Like there are still people that live there. Pig barter is still around. Like it's a dangerous land, but it still has swamps. It still has forests. It still has marshlands. The Simurgh being like, maybe there used to be more of them, but like in the modern era, there are less. But the idea that it's this like really powerful native creature that is like one of the big bosses or the big bad monsters of the southern Darklands that would help the Darklands. Because the thing for me with the Darklands is I want to break away the southern Darklands from the Chaos Dwarf Darklands. because they're two completely different things. And a lot of people conflate the Darklands to all just being, oh, it's all ash and fire and pollution and awful. And it's huge, and the Chaos Dwarves don't control that much of it.
Yeah, so we got it simple. Yes, Southern Darklands, gigantic noble creature that's now largely extinct, hunted down by Chaos Dwarves, revered by the remainders of local population, and once, much like the Griffin is a symbol of Imperial might, it was once a symbol of whatever the civilizations in the Darklands were, their might, and has since fallen into legend. So yes, I think is the answer to that.
I will say, if you kept the ability that it has, where it has the ability to magically purify water, suggesting it has some kind of gyronite elements to it, that could make it so critical to protecting for the people of those lands, where you have like the river ruins spreading corruption and stuff.
Yeah, attach it to some sort of Oasis style myth as well, where wherever it is, there's rainbows and oases and clean water. And it's something that marks them out as perhaps easier to find. When you found the clear water, perhaps you found one of their lairs.
Yep. Which could also be hilarious about people that like don't show proper deference and be like, we finally found clean water, hooray! And then they get horribly murdered by a giant
and eaten.
dog-headed
quite right too. Love it. Alrighty, what do we have next?
We have
next up. It is.
The Nipponese book spirit made me think of a potential suggestion. The librarian from Monsters University, a giant library guardian who detests loud noise. Honestly, that just could be funny. Like that, like you could just have that in certain libraries, magical libraries.
I might also say Biofoot. Why the fuck didn't you do Fishman?
I know Biofoot really disappointed me with.
He's completely failed me here.
Like
Biofoot. I don't even understand what this is. It isn't some chthonic entity from the depths of the oceans. What is this?
He went off brand, man. He went off brand.
Yeah, he totally did.
Buffett says, all right.
Oh, he's also left, so you won't get to tell us live just how upset you are at our comments.
I can't believe he let us down like that.
Totally let us down.
So, for anyone
for
anyone that does not know the joys of not deer, I don't know if they have this concept over in the UK, but in America, it's quite famous.
Well, I don't know it.
So not deer, which you may look at that and go, that's just a deer. And to which I would say, no, it's not deer.
Oh dear.
So for those that don't know, the mythos of not deer, I'm curious how Biofoot expressed this. So not deer, which is a fairly modern concept, so Biofoot says, it's a more modern one, but the not deer screams beastman or twisted Kislev monster to me. Basically, it is a monster that looks at first like a deer, and then you realize the eyes are caked in blood and pointed forward, not like, so instead of being side eyes because it's a, it has the forward facing eyes of a predator species. The horns are broken at jagged angles. The jaws open wider than any mammal should allow for, and the teeth are razor sharp and numerous. And then there's not enough of you left to notice much of anything thereafter. Yes, there is a very famous SCP article, SCP-6448, where the author explores what could be animating such a thing into a mockery of life and expands on the abnormal behavior such a beast, such as walking on two legs, breaking into homes, stealing weapons, speaking in broken, tortured English, and other niceties of civilization.
Right, so I'm going to cut it down again. It's just a shame in shapeshifting.
Yeah.
Okay, we're sticking so close to a creature. Warhammer World has already got enough to deal with this, and it's a beastman shaman that has shaped itself into a deer, has come forward, and then breaks itself up as it forms itself back into the beastman that it actually is with its big long horns. I don't think we need to go any further than that. I think it makes for a really fun beastman shape-shifting character, but I don't think we need to have ourselves an extra entity here.
Yeah, there actually would be something very delightful about beastmen attempting to shapeshift into like normal creatures to like sneak into human environments and stuff, but the shamans just don't quite understand what it's supposed to be normal, and it's a little fucked up. Not enough.
I don't think we even need to necessarily have the fucked up until they want it to. Remember, they're intelligent. They're not stupid. You can look at a deer and know what a deer should look like. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for them to go, hey, look, I'm a deer, aren't I? Honk. Wait a minute. Why are your eyes bleeding? What do you mean? I think more likely that we can use it as a method of preying upon human communities as getting what they want out of them, particularly if they're looking to separate people, and then they look at the deer that they might be hunting and it's not deer. It's something much, much worse.
That would make for a very cool short story.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Hunter hunting a deer, and it turns out it's not a deer. Yeah, great.
It's not deer. Okay, so let's spin the Wheel of Monster.
Chima, Elven Kingdom or Dwarf Holds tier list win? Soon. Stay tuned.
Soon, yeah, sure. Elven Kingdom ones in particular I think would work quite well, but we've done a lot of elfy shit lately.
Spider-Man, the rowing Mauler. So it reminds me a bit of the three-legged man that's on the flags of both the Isle of Man and Sicily.
It's a bit similar. It's also very similar to the wheelies. I can't remember what they were called in Fighting Fantasy. No, it wasn't Fighting Fantasy. It was those rolly things. Or was it? No, it was Fighting Fantasy.
Stephen Lucas, roving Mauler like it was already a grotesque mini from Cities of Sigmar. Those little mascot sprites that follow humans around. Yeah, Age of Sigmar has a ton of those. But it would make a good familiar, too. That's perfect for a familiar.
Familiar's fine, but not as a consistent entity.
Yeah, I don't think it was... Oh, the Squonk. Oh,
what boy. What the hell is a Squonk? I am learning shit today. What's a Squonk?
So, this one, its name feels much more like a descriptor or like the noise you think it should make as opposed to like a name. So this is the Squonk.
Holy shit.
He's sad.
Look at the poor sad Squonk.
He's just a sad little guy. This is an American creature. That's let me get its description of it. It's like you're like, oh, Squonk, and you see it and you're like, his name is definitely Squonk. Is that a juvenile Javers? No, juvenile Javers life would probably be much uglier. This guy's just sad. He's just a sad little guy.
A sad, wart-covered little guy. So he does not look like a happy guy.
I present the Squonk, a cryptid from northern Pennsylvania. It is said to be a small creature with misfitting skin, which is covered with warts and moles. It is constantly crying because of its appearance and traveled in darkness to avoid seeing their ugly appearance in bodies of water. It is advised hunters track it by its tear-stained trail, and when it's captured or frightened, it simply dissolves itself into tears. What a sad little guy!
I'm going to say it again. Nope. Why no? Because it's already just a mutant that absolutely hates itself and what it's become, but hasn't got the bravery to kill itself. We've got all of the necessary components to add this to Warhammer without adding a unique creature. I don't think we need a unique creature for this. We've already got it covered with mutant.
He's just a little guy.
He is just a little guy, but no, fuck that guy because I'm mean.
This one I don't think would make well for I think there are if you really wanted, you'd have to change some things about it.
But you could almost use it as is, as an individual who's a mutant.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted it to be like a species of creature,
if you wanted it to be a species, you'd probably need to do quite a lot of changes to make it have utility beyond what's already a good story for a mutant.
Yeah. Actually, Starn, who also wanted to submit the Squonk, literally said there's a few directions you could go. Maybe the Squonk is a simple mutant or someone that has been mutated as a cruel joke. Yep.
The Charybdis.
Yes, the actual Charybdis. Because Games Workshop loves naming creatures after things that they aren't like
they just aren't. Yeah, you're right.
And it's super obnoxious when they do that, but they really like doing it. Like the Gorgon or the Charybdis.
The fucking Behemoth.
Yeah, Behemoth. Yeah. Where?
The Behemoth.
Hey, listen, I don't make fun of the way you pronounce it.
No. It was making me remember of the super sounds of the 70s from, where? What was that? Which movie? Quentin Tarantino. Because they discussed the Behemoth.
So for anyone that does not know the original Charybdis, this one I don't even have to look up because I know what the fuck Charybdis is. Charybdis, of course, plays a very big, notable part of the Odyssey. If you've never read it, very, very classic story. And Charybdis is basically a big old nasty sea monster that is said to sit in the ocean and inhale horrific amounts of water, so it creates a giant whirlpool that drags everything into its mouth, and then it eats you up, and then it spits the water out. And Odysseus manages to be all smart and cool and basically avoid being swallowed by it until it spits out a bunch of water, and then he rides the wave out. This should exist in Warhammer and should be called something akin to a Charybdis, but spelled different. But instead, Games Workshop made their Charybdis based on Scylla, who is Charybdis's like other part, which is a big monster that has like a bunch of heads that like eats people. I don't know why they did that, but they did. So, but like it's basically just a big sea monster that like sucks people in and eats them. Like,
yeah. So should this be a thing? Fucking right, it should. And it should just be this. It does fine. It's perfect. The Games Workshop equivalent with our multi-headed weirdo sea monster is not a Charybdis. It's a poor example of one.
To stay on brand, we would call it Scylla. it would create big whirlpools in the ocean somewhere.
But we've already got Scylla because we've got Scylla Aelfin over on the Great Chaos Spawn side, so we can't do that either. Cut a long story short, this should be there and isn't.
Yeah, we'll call it Skyla.
Yeah, totally. Bloody hell. Here comes the next one. We have got...
Isn't it just the Galleon's Graveyard? No, because the Galleon's Graveyard, the Maelstrom is not a creature. It's just a magical...
The Osert. The Osert. I don't know the Osert. Oh, this sounds fun. Os sounds bony. Ert sounds like, like maybe bloody. You could get like this one's actually what is this one?
Interesting. So the Osert.
Okay, it's a chain on you cat.
Yeah. So this insert cat jokes here. So
what the fuck?
This fellow, this one's got an interesting little myth. All right, so Jeff submitted this, and it says, so in the Low Countries, in my region of Belgium, there are folktales of spirits or demons connected to bodies of water who attack passerbys or trick them. Mm-hmm. There are tales of these beings all over the Low Countries. Osert, sometimes spelled different, are the ones I'm most knowledgeable about, but there are many others, such as the Clud and the Flotter. Osert is a shape-shifting being who can appear as a black cat, dog, or as a number of other animals, often wrapped in chains. A blue light, basically a wisp, and in some cases a monster with sharp claws and red glowing eyes, though its voice is almost often heard by victims. There are some stories about its escapades, sometimes stealing fish or tricking passerbys. There's a story where someone who tried to prevent Osert from taking some of his fish and succeeded, caught no more fish after that. Osert filling his net because he stopped the Osert from stealing his fish. The Osert filled all of his nets in the future with horse shit. What a jerk. What is most well known in my region is his nightly ambushes. He lies in wait, hiding in the trees or water, and then pushes drunk people and other passerbyers into the water or jumps on their back. If he jumps on your back, the victim will weigh an enormous amount, and he will laugh as he forces you to your knees. His victim will have to endure until the break of dawn. If you can get to holy ground or certain landmarks, he, however, will not be able to go further and will have to let you go.
Yeah, it's just yet another classic piece of folk myth concerning all the shit you shouldn't do at night, like wander out drunk. No. Because you're going to fall in a canal and they're going to blame a spirit for it rather than the fact that you were drunk. There's loads of this sort of stuff across British myth as well. Loads of Scottish myths about a variety of water-based fey creatures that come out and do things to you according to the nature of the local story at hand. I think all of this can be all conflated up into, we already have it. We've got naiads who pull, some of the which pull tricks. They're water spirits, many of which can shapeshift. They've got shapeshifting as a core part of their rules already. Some of them can also shapeshift into other creatures because they've got themselves the Amberwind, and they can literally turn into animals as well, known for turning into the equivalent of, if we go with Scottish myth, things like horses, or alternatively here we've got cats. Basically, we've got this covered already with the existing Warhammer world. It's a magic using naiad. We don't need an extra thing. Add on top of that the local myths from the peasants, who quite happily say, oh no, it's the cat from the wood who falls on you, causes issues, and whatever other alternatives they come up with to explain away the naiad of the River Blut or the naiad of the River Reich, or whichever one it is. They're almost like minor gods.
Yeah, I would very much think this would do delightful for a very particular, like a named naiad of a particular river.
Yep, agreed perfectly. They're basically water spirits. And if you want to see what the Warhammer equivalent of those, for those of you who don't do the role-playing game very much, pop over to the Wood Elf Army and take a look at the Dryads. They're the equivalent, but wood spirits. So yeah, they're water spirits.
1.21 gigawatts. I think in mythology, Geryon had 3 torsos. One lower body with 3 torsos coming out of it, rather than 3
it depends on which version you go with gigawatts, because it has been described as 3 completely separate torsos, as a core representation of the trials that you face in life, not just Hercules and the trials that he faced and having to deal with this individual 3-bodied, 3-personed type of individual. It's popped up in different varieties that I've seen in translations.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, he still works really well as an individual mutant.
100%.
Just lives alone. Scarlet Martin, Ko, the Fake Stealer from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just big nasty spirit. Like a spirit that literally steals people's identities. That is a big nasty fucking spirit.
Yep. Ko, the Fake Stealer is freaking awesome as well, by the way. Great. Great.
Great. Ko, especially the way he acts and everything, you could literally just direct it 1-to-1 him practically. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, a big spirit that like. And you know, you can have a whole thing like there's a hag that has a bargain with him and she warns people about him and stuff, but he'll help her under certain circumstances and yada yada yada. Yeah,
totally. Okay, next on our spin is All Is Dust option of the Amet from Egyptian mythology.
Yeah, so this one's pretty classic. So this one is pretty straightforward. I'm gonna pull up your little post, but like this could very easily. It's kind of basically like a griffin.
It's another cryptid.
Yeah. So Amet is described as a female entity, commonly depicted with the head of a crocodile, 4 legs, and upper body of a lion/leopard, the hind legs and lower body of a hippopotamus. Its job was to devour the heart of the dead if they weighed more than a feather. Since Egyptians believed that the soul was tied to the heart, it meant that the soul would become restless forever, dying a second death, and would be stuck in Duat. I find the lack of Egyptian mythology in Warhammer a bit disappointing. Yeah, I would make this a creature that lives in Nehekara, probably hangs out around the river.
Or if you want, because of the way Nehekara is now, where literally everything living is dead, you could easily have it as part of the spiritual divine remains of the old gods, and the only ones that are left alive, the ones that are directly protected by one of the Nehekaran gods. That'd work equally well if you want to keep the idea that everything in Nehekara is dead.
Yeah, I mean, this thing would be horrific still in like skeletal structure. So if you had these like as undead constructs that guard the river, the river,
100% makes sense.
Oh my god, I can't remember the name of the river. The River Necris?
Oh, dude, did you have to say that? Now I'll never remember it.
It's the River Vitae.
If you hadn't said anything, I'd have said, "Oh, it's that one that goes down and it's all cursed and stuff." Oh, yeah, god damn it!
And awful and
I've mapped it like 4 times. You'd think I'd remember it.
Oh my god, Mortis! Yeah, River.
There
Mortis.
We go. Of course, it's called the fucking Mortis.
So the River Mortis is said to basically be impossible to sail or to go up, and this could be one of the reasons why. Is that there's these big undead, horrible creatures that used to be living, wonderful creatures. Well, they were probably still horrific because they're part hippo, and hippos are the meanest motherfuckers in the world. But
totally. Hey, Swirly, it looks like you've won this one with your medieval rabbits.
The medieval rabbits. This one was
hell.
This one was actually kind of a cute post. So the medieval rabbits, for those that don't know, this one's actually kind of a fun little thing. So in a lot of medieval posting, there is a whole bunch of shit about medieval rabbits, which is that if you look at medieval texts that have like the art and stuff alongside, there's always rabbits fucking killing people.
Very bored monks.
Yeah, so Swirly,
I saw a rabbit today.
Some very cool stuff. A curveball. You guys might be familiar with classic medieval miniature doodles in manuscripts. Unfortunately, the proper name for these is avoiding me at the moment. It doesn't really matter. What you might not be aware of is the prevalence of bunnies. Many examples I'm thinking of are Czech or I guess Bohemian. So my mission to you guys would be to bring these artistic characteristics of bunnies into Warhammer. And yes, they aren't technically monsters, but there's something about them that makes them not just regular rabbits. They're clearly, they have some kind of culture. In fact, they seem to be unanimously united by war and violence. There's also a fun aspect to them that they share a theme, which fits well into Warhammer. You can literally expand them just into a faction if you wanted to. I don't know how these were just off the top of my head. Maybe they could be tied to something gnomish or whatever.
I don't think you need to go that far. This one's super easy.
Specifics. I think a lot of this art was made just to be funny. Representation of something at the time people viewed as cowardly weak.
This one's super easy. You ready? In the Warhammer world, there's an established trope that there are various creatures that were considered once to be normal that have gone bad because they're in an area that's tainted. We had a previous example of this already with the Razorbills that were puffins that got basically washed over during one of the great incursions of magic by too much magic, and they were permanently changed and they became giant killer puffins. These are our Mussolini hares. I don't think they're rabbits. They look more like hares mostly. Down in Mousillon, where they have been steeped in the worst dar that the world has got to offer, some of them have gone freaking wrong, and they will tear you limb from freaking limb. And because they multiply, strangely enough, like rabbits, there's altogether too many of them on the edges of all the marshes and the bogs that you find down there, making the place an unexpectedly dangerous area from, of all things, the local rabbit population. And I don't think that this is much of a stretch, because you tend to find that whenever a new writer comes in to take over a place like Sylvania or Mousillon, or indeed any of the Chaos Waste extras, they often go, and today I'm going to add the crazy version of this creature. And the crazy version of rabbit is just one writer away from happening. This doesn't, to me, sound like much of a stretch.
This would be the least surprising addition, and it would be a nice, cute callback to something that shows up in a lot of historical texts.
Yeah, absolutely. And for any of you who are of my generation, the idea of terrifying rabbits is not that silly, because we watched that Watership Down fucking cartoon when we were kids, and it was fucking terrifying. Mixomatosis fucking horror shows, and you know, bright eyes, burning tears coming out. This is awful. Yeah, fucking Bright Eyes. No, big hard no to that. Yes, I think it's an obvious inclusion.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
Oh, I told you that we'd get the Canadian, the Cobra chicken.
Oh, shit! I accidentally started that again. That was Yalab's Goose Hydra.
So, the Goose Hydra! Beware!
It's okay, I can do this one easy. Nope. Next. I'll do it again. Nope.
It's just
next.
A big mutant goose. What else do you like? It's just a goose that got too much warpstone.
No. Next. Yeah. Look, well, it's clearly ridiculous. It's a gigantic, oversized goose with multiple heads. Can we get this in Warhammer? Yes. Do we need to make it a unique creature? No.
No. Yeah.
But it's fucking hilarious. Thanks, Yellow.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I wouldn't want to fight. I wouldn't want to fuck with it. I mean, it's big. It's a big boy.
Our next one is already in Warhammer.
Yeah. So this one is actually kind of an interesting.
It's topic. In already, John Lockcole. Go check yourself. The Warhammer Armies book from 1980, I'm going to guess 9 off the top of my head, and it's one of the creatures at the beginning of the book, because there's an entire Nipponese army in there as well, and the Kairin, as it's described there, is almost pitched as, not like this, it's almost pitched like a cloudy unicorn in the sky that can fly around.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet $1 gajillion that if we get Nippon, which a lot of rumors are saying that supposedly they're working on, that the Kilian would be right up there at the beginning immediately. I
mean, obviously. But yes, it's already in Warhammer, so we don't need to say, can it be Warhammer-fied? The answer is yes, it's there already. We're almost certain to get a version of it at some point.
Yep. Spin again.
Okay, that was super easy. Let's spin the wheel of monsters.
Yeah, so we have the Longma in Cathay. We do not have.
Yeah, the Longma's an equivalent, but not the same. Oh, what's this? Mickwick's domestic tutelary spirit.
Yes. So this one.
I don't know this one.
This was a clever entry because it's not really a specific creature. It's more like a genre. So the domestic tutelary spirits. So yeah. So let's see. Mickwick. Oh my god, I made this one so long that I have to open this thing. So this was in the LAWhammer Discord. Tutelary spirits. Where are you? Here we are. So Mickwick, thank you for the entry, says domestic tutelary spirits. Many origins, but most of the ones below come from lairs which originated from the Roman Empire. Domestic tutelary spirits such as brownies, hobs, silkies, lairs, and the like. The specific lore for these creatures can vary a lot, as you'd expect, but my personal favorite of the version of the creatures has always been that they're either created or attracted to homes that are loved and cared for, and they join the household. They play mostly harmless pranks at times to keep those in the household in check and for their own amusement. They then stay for as long as they and the household are treated with kindness, respect, and diligence. And if they leave, it's not just a great shame on the household, but usually a dark sign of decline and moral failing. Well, not necessarily.
So we're not there yet. Sorry.
Almost. Well, not necessarily traditional representation. One of my favorite versions of this kind of creature was the Ancient Magus Bride, which has the whole bevy of these kinds of creatures. And I would love to hear if Andy's seen it and his opinion as someone actually from the area many of its tales interact with, the Ancient Magus Bride being an anime.
Totes. Yes, this is a classic trope in real world myths of various fae folks. And it was referenced several times in various points of Warhammer, particularly when we move to places like Kislev, where the idea of various spiritual entities that can be enticed in and look after them, and if you lose them, it's bad news. And yeah, that's still sort of there with the hags, but everything got twisted around. All of the good spirits got dropped, loosely speaking. They're really now left for other groups like elves or the hags of the forests or any equivalent, and they're very rarely good. They're most commonly self-motivated for one reason or another. So the idea of spiritual things that aren't familiars, I would probably hard no upon. And there's a reason for that, because when we were repitching Kislev and building the new version of it, there was a discussion as to how much of Something Rotten in Kislev should we keep, where there was all manner of old, very, very fey-like creatures mentioned. And the answer was, we don't want them. That's not what modern Warhammer is anymore. We've moved past that, and that never was the most Warhammer of books anyway. What we want is creatures that have got their own vile backgrounds and speak to what exactly they are, and they're often shapeshifters, self-motivated. They're not sitting there just enslaving themselves to someone else just to see what happens. Yeah, no. So long story short on this one, I would hard nope on it and twist it into different types of stories, and wizards and similar getting things that look like this, but are actually familiars, spirits pressed into service, and much less beneficent. I can't get the word out. It's late. Well, I'm already at like almost 11:30 at this end. But much less creatures that are doing it for their, own good. I would probably hard open this one.
Yeah, what I would say is, I think there are two ways this could be approached. The first would be that you already have spirits that are like live in certain areas, and the idea that there are humans or elves or gnomes like that live out in these areas that have to appease these spirits to try and avoid conflict with them, because the spirits are like super fucking scary. And they might appear kind of cutesy and stuff, but if you piss them off, like, it could result in you and your family just vanish from the community, and it's really like spooky and horrible. The other way is, I think this could actually, if you're doing roleplay, I wouldn't make this like a common thing throughout the setting, but if you wanted to have a particularly fun little story, you could do, for a little roleplay adventure, you could do a scenario where like your PCs arrive at a house or a place where this appears to be what's going on, but there's something way more fucking sinister right beneath the surface.
See, that's where how these sort of stories are generally picked up with Warhammer. What you take is ideas that people are already half exposed to because of their own awareness of childhood myths and fairy tales, and then you present it to them in Warhammer, and often they go, oh, it's one of these, and then they find the truth behind it and go, oh shit, no, it's much, much, much worse. And that's probably how best to use it. I agree completely.
Donovan, another suggestion I thought of, the
just don't.
Tlaloticutli. There we go. It's an Aztec giant toad-like monster deity with crocodile skin, and some depictions has additional mouths on its knees and elbows. Ugh. She often adorns herself with human skulls and a skirt made of human bones. She also has a river of blood pouring from her mouth.
Yeah, this is an individual entity.
Yep. Sounds like
an individual entities like this totally fit.
Yep. Sounds like a spooky river entity that lives in somewhere in Lustria.
Yeah, it totally does.
Undertaker, by the way, about Noctalb, another older name is Nachtmare, also seen Nightmare. Albtraum is still the German word for nightmare. Yeah. But I mean, it's literally for night terror.
The Catoblepus.
Catoblepus.
Yeah.
So, Catoblepus.
Thanks, Lord Spooky Scary, for that one.
Yeah, this one's an old boy. Let's see, is that from the LAWhammer or... Yes. So that's from the LAWhammer Discord, and I remember that was one of the last critters posted, if I recall. He says, as he scrolls up and up, and there you are. The Catoblepus is a lesser-known Greek/Roman mythical beast. It supposedly hails from Africa, specifically the Upper Nile region. It is believed to be based on the wildebeest. Catoblepus appear similar to a large Cape buffalo, typically with a heavy, shaggy head, which is always turned downwards to the ground. Its face is sometimes described as hog-like with horns, and it sometimes has scales on its back. Usually the face is horrific to look upon in some fashion. Notable feature is sometimes its bloodshot eyes. Generally, Catoblepus is sluggish, and the fact its head is so heavy and is always held downwards is actually a great boon, because it supposedly has a range of dangerous power should you ever see its face. These range from its gaze killing you instantly to poisonous breath to jets of flame from its nostrils. Catoblepus is rarely overtly hostile, and because its head is nearly always turned downwards, it can be avoided very easily, but its ire is, if crossed, is truly terrible.
Yeah, the Catoblepus is basically just a wildebeest. That's what it is. It's one of those ones which, much like many of the creatures that the Romans and up into the late medieval era peoples of Europe encountered, they just repitched them. They tried to take pictures. Various historians for the time tried to understand it, but this is basically just a wildebeest. And I don't think that we need to do anything more from the perspective of justifying it. But could we take the idea of the Catoblepus as something else? This great scaled cow, and do something with that? I mean, sure. The real world one, as I recall, comes from, much as you said, like the Upper Nile. So we're talking Ethiopia area. Wildebeest from that area. So we're now talking
Southlands.
Yeah, we're now talking into the Southlands, and we could have ourselves just outside the trees of the Southlands herds of big scaly wildebeest, effectively, that are with their heads down, clearly natural grazers. All of that largely fits, and we could add a few fun details for why they're different to our standard wildebeest tropes, and we're off.
That would be actually, I think, a really fun place for them, because that's also like you could have these very hilarious stories of how like the humans are really good at dealing with them and avoiding them, but like the greenskins particularly enjoy antagonizing them and then trying to survive once they piss one off enough to go after them. And it's like a whole thing for greenskins.
I mean, it's all about building interesting local fauna in different parts of the Warhammer world. And we could take the legends of the Catoblepus, which are almost certainly just a misinterpretation of other creatures from Africa, and turn them into something super fun.
Warhammerify the cactus farm for Final Fantasy. That's literally just like a forest spirit in a place with cactus. That's all it
totally is. I mean, they sort of already exist. And then we've got ourselves various little, almost mischievous spiritual creatures across the Warhammer world that generally only manifest in spiritually heavy areas, like, for example, the Lorelorn, Kislev, Albion, Nippon, and a few other places as well. So we probably almost certainly have something like this.
Stephen Lucas, not deer, just a normal deer in Conquest of Elysium 5. Many a civilization has fallen because they forgot to leave people to guard their only fort.
True fact.
Diamond Man, correction to my earlier comment, I was actually thinking of the Sepectli, which is a monster rather than a deity. This monster is part fish, part crocodile, and part frog, and always has additional mouths on not only
on its knees, elbows, and every joint. I mean, what other joints are there? Like the shoulder? Holy heck.
That's too many mouths. Too many mouths. Spin the wheel!
Oh, I was just doing that too. Here comes the wheel. This time we have.
Lucas, has there ever been an Amber Wizard that turned a human into a half animal for some reason? Even without Dar feels like it could do that.
First, the Amber Wizards turn in themselves. They don't turn externally normally, so they don't turn other people into other stuff. So you'll be looking at more witchery than amber magic. Witchery is noted for doing all manner of stuff like turning people into toads. We discussed that with Morgana Le Fay just the other day. She was known for doing exactly that. So you're probably looking at some form of witchery instead. And witchery is often less to do with Dar, but not really an Amber Wizard thing. The knocker.
Yep. Grabbing it. Knocker.
Thanks, Heron. I do like a knocker.
Why?
I do like knockers. That certainly came out wrong.
I mean.
Bloody hell.
Why?
I'm just going to shut up.
Why do I not? Where'd he go? I know he's on this list somewhere. Why can I not? Did I put the knocker? Why would I do that? Why would I do that to myself?
Know. Where's your knockers, dude?
No, I don't see him there. I should have just done this in order. Knocker. Where's my?
I'm pretty sure it was over in the LAWhammer forum because I spotted it not that long ago. So you should find it.
I know it's in this stupid file. Where the fuck did I put it? Did I not save that one? Maybe I didn't save that one for some reason.
Maybe not. Cornish knockers.
This is the last time I'm looking, and then I'll just grab it again. Yeah, I guess I somehow missed that. Weird. Okay. Knocker. There he is. Oh no, it's because of the gosh darn it. It's because of the type of file it is. Give me half a second.
It's a difficult picture file.
Yeah, it's like an AVIF file.
Ugh.
So I'm just going to convert it very briefly if you want to do the next super chat. As you
let me just scroll down and find where you were at Stephen Lucas, weren't you? So that means we're on to Super Orlok. Let me tell y'all about the hide behind. A panther who walks on two legs, tall and skinny as a lamppost. All it wants to do is hide behind trees and eat the guts of anyone who it can sniff out with its great sense of smell. The only thing that wards it off is the strong smell of whiskey. And Mr. Foreman, that's why I'm drunk on the logging camp. Thanks, Super Orlok. Hammond, not flamenco or salsa, my brother. Do you know Natu? Do you know Natu?
No, but I mean, it's Hammond, so I feel like this is some kind of trap.
So do I. So I don't want to say anything. I'm just going to move on, Hammond. Please tell me what the trap was. Rockaboy, and that's a knocker. Rockaboy Jukebox. Hydro Goose is 100% corn-coded, and he will not be persuaded otherwise.
So the knocker, mythical subterranean gnome-like creature in Cornish and Devon folklore. They were given the name knockers due to the knocks they sent to the mines to warn miners, or in some cases cause cave-ins. The Welsh countertop is the coblin. It is closely related to the Irish leprechaun, Kitch's clockler, and the clocker, and the English and Scottish brownie. The Cornish describe the creature as a little person 2 feet tall with disproportionately large head, long arms, wrinkled skin, and white whiskers. It wears a tiny version of a standard miner's garb and commits random mischief, such as stealing miners' attended tools and food. When properly respected, they warn miners ahead of cave-ins or deadly gases. However, if angered, they can go from helpful mischief makers to dangerous creatures who will harm people if provoked. They were originally thought to be Buka, sea spirits, who lived underground, but shifted over time to them being the spirits of deceased miners. So, bizarrely, we already have these in Warhammer. We have knockers. They were revealed in the Bretonia book, and they are nasty zombie undead of miners that have died. It was
definitely a choice to take.
Yeah, they don't bear that much like other than the whole they cause cave-in stuff and they're called knockers. Like you can see the similarities, but they ditched a lot of like the design and they kind of just made them like big zombies of people that have died in cave-ins.
Yeah. So yeah, we've already got knockers, so that was exactly what I was going to say as well. They don't really resemble knockers, as we understand them from various myths. But if you're not looking to effectively just port it over, we already sort of have knockers in a variety of other ways as well, because we have gnomes who live in that sort of area who very much are known for their mischievousness and grumpiness and other things. We also have goblins as well.
Yeah, they're in Knights of the Grail for anyone asking.
Yeah, Knights of the Grail book for 2nd edition.
Knights of the, is it Knights of the Grail?
Yeah, it's Knights of the Grail. Okay. You're making me doubt myself, though, but no, it is. I was doubting myself. And we also have goblins as well. Goblins who fulfill much of this role, too. So we kind of don't need another one, unless we're doing something with it specifically and there's a good tale to be told. But we don't need another sentient species sitting underneath the mountains of the Warhammer world without a good reason for them being there.
Yep. All right. Spin away.
Okay, let's get our spin on. Whoa, I haven't brought it up on the screen yet. Let's spin that Wheel of Justice. What we're going to get this time, it looks like it's going to be Sea Beardington. Are you going to get it? No, it's Warhammerifying. And the Lagerfjord worm.
I'm glad.
Sure, Lagerfjord? Oh, it's Icelandic. I'm not good with Icelandic.
It is aggressively Icelandic.
Oh, I'm loving it already. Yes. Done.
So this big beastie,
Lagerfjord.
Lagerfjord. Sure, I'm gonna default to your. I know my Icelandic GM.
No, I don't know Icelandic at all well. This is where we need Lindsay.
Warhammerifying. Iceland has several, but I go, man, its full name is even more ridiculous. From 1345, a serpentine/draconic monster that started off as a worm that a girl attached to a golden ring. Have heard a story that by doing so would make the gold ring grow and storing both in a box. When the girl returned later to the box, the gold had grown, but so had the worm and turned more serpent-like. Scared, she threw the worm into the lake Lagerfjord, but the worm continued to grow, becoming a massive draconic serpent with poisonous breath that started terrorizing surrounding villagers. So eventually a brave group of villagers went to the lake to tie its head and tail to the lake bottom, resulting in only occasionally it's arching its back, breaking the surface. But it was apparently impossible to kill it and retrieve the gold underneath it, because beneath the gold and whatever the fuck this thing's name is an even larger dragon growing only by being kept from going free by the combined weight of the gold and the worm sitting upon it.
So both no and yes. No, because it's an individual, and if we're looking at building in something fun and cool, then it's not going to do that. But as an individual, this is the sort of stupid shit that happens in Warhammer all the time.
I would love this as a big, nasty, unique monster that lives in one of the lakes of Norska.
Yeah, totally. And it being up there to this day, great. and a Warhammer equivalent of it, yeah, totally. Yeah, you could do that without any difficulty at all. I'm well up for that. Give it a slight different name. How's that an O with an acute spelt? It isn't acute, isn't it? Yeah, it's an acute.
Yes. I don't ask me though. I don't know.
Lagerfjord. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not even going to try. Anyone out there speak Icelandic who can pronounce that correctly?
Well, yeah, but except for it lives in water, so it's a little different.
Yeah, kinda. It's different, but kinda. But then we could pretty much say that for half the monsters. You could just say, "Well, that's just a snake." Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lake serpent that breathes poisonous gas. Very cool.
What's not to like? Okay, here we go as we dive into. Is it the Nuclavy?
No, almost.
Oh, it's not. It's the Kamayatachi. One of the yokai from Japan, or Japan if you prefer. Pie guy.
No, don't say that.
I'm just reading what it says there.
Japan.
I'm presuming that there's a spelling mistake there somewhere, either by Pie Guy or whoever inputted this in.
Oh man, that killed me. I'm dead now. Oh, is that one of the ones that was an awkward file? That might have been an awkward file. Nope. Those all look normal. Lahair, Krat. There's the Kappa. That's not quite what I'm looking for. How is it spelled?
You found it? I've already forgotten which one it is.
I have it. Let's see. No.
I just remember it was one of the UK.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's one of the ones where the file is weird. Because I'm not seeing it.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll go see if I can find a super chat. Where were we last? Where were we last? Let's play up Dinoman, because I'm pretty sure I haven't read this one because it's huge. Another suggestion from Dinoman95. Thanks very much. Then Ninkananka, a West African creature about 9 meters long. In some depictions, it has the body of a crocodile and the head of a crocodile. In others, the body of a crocodile and the head of a horse and 3 horns. And usually it has the long neck like a giraffe. They are river-dwelling beasts that possess a deadly stare that can kill people in sight, a very common feature for mythic creatures. And broadly speaking, yes. I mean, there's a great hole at the moment in the Southlands and much of what would be Arabi, Nehekara, et al. And filling them up with proper local-themed creatures would be a good idea. Loosely on that one, yeah. Elemental exposure. Where are the Africanized killer swallows dropping coconut bombs on unsuspecting questing knights? And the answer is, in truth, that they're killing Be'lakor and dropping large rocks on him instead. Hopefully that helps. Elemental exposure. Stephen Lucas. Why not a permanent Pan's impenetrable pelt or Wyson's wild form? Why can Amber only turn itself into beasts, but witchery has no restrictions? Because that's largely how Amber magic has been written, and that's also how witchery has been written. It's not that it has no restrictions, it has different restrictions. Witchery types of witches, of that type, can't turn themselves into animals, but they can turn other people into animals. That's just a core component of how their witchy type spells go. Hey, look at these snotty guys.
These guys
I'm loving these.
Super cool, and I would love to see them in Nippon. So Pie Guy, thank you very much. Part of why I'm hopeful for Nippon is because Warhammer Yokai. Me too. My favorite is the Kama Itachi, or sickle weasels, which travel on the wind and compete with each other to see who can slice up victims the best. Some even have the ability to heal the wounds that they cause. Warhammer needs more small, scary monsters, in my opinion.
Yes. And who fucking doesn't like the idea of blade-wielding weasels? It's fucking awesome.
Also, like, their limbs are literal sickles. It's not like they're holding them. Their limbs are just sickles.
Yeah, you're right. That's even better. So broadly speaking here, what we need is a very clean idea for what the yokai are. In Warhammer Nippon. What are they? What are the yokai? Are the yokai demons? Are the yokai spirits? Are the yokai mutants? Are the yokai their own species that manifest in lots of different ways? And once you've got your top tier umbrella of what yokai are, you can then drill down into all the different manifestations of how the yokai expressed in Nippon.
If they're not
whether
spirits,
it is,
I'm going to be so upset.
If they're not what?
If they're not spirits, I'm going to be so upset.
Yeah, well, in my game, they're not. They are much worse. Much worse. And this sort of shit is going to be resolved by what you decide your yokai are. For example, in this case, they would make bloody great spirits, really good spirits. Spirits of the land and how they work. They fit in almost perfectly, both with their manipulation of the elemental forces around them and the very fact that they are smaller, almost animalistic entities with blady bits attached to them. Yeah, that all fits in beautifully. But how exactly you want your yokai to be would need to be answered first.
Yeah, these guys could almost one for one. Like,
yeah, they're awesome. They're super fun.
All right, next up.
Alrighty, let's spin the wheel. What are we landing on this time? Is it going to be Nagarashi? No, it's not. It's going to be JP the DM with Mishi Peshu, I presume.
Oh, yes, the Mishi Peshu.
American. The Mishi Peshu? Peshu?
Yeah, Mishi Peshu. So, that's L. Oh.
While you're doing that, I shall bring up Dynaman's comment there. I meant in some cases the head of a donkey, body of a crocodile, other cases head of a horse and body of a crocodile. Got you. Formatting thing went weird. It sometimes does, Dynaman. And yeah, I still agree. Think it sounds great. And while he's looking, I'll also move on to Undertaker number 1. What would you say about the Yamata no Orochi, the 8-headed, 8-tailed serpent as a Nipponese chaos dragon with each head representing a wind of magic and the 8-pointed chaos star? And my answer to that would be yes and no. The yes, because having it tied to the winds of magic, I think is perfect. But do we have to make it chaos? It seems like chaos is the obvious action. But if we were doing that, then surely all the dragons over in Cathay would be chaos, because each one of those is attached to one of the winds of magic. There's no need to necessarily make it a chaos dragon. That would be the obvious choice. I think I'd like to do something a little bit different with it if I was going to be using that. Not that I have already considered it for my own games, honest. But yeah, I think that you're definitely onto something there, Undertaker number 1. Could it be used as a chaos dragon? Damn straight, and it would be a terrifying one. And I think would make for a super fun one at that. Or alternatively, you could take, for example, the fact it's got 8 heads, 8 tails, and presumably 4 limbs, or no limbs, depending on which one you go to come up with a different sort of story and how exactly that applies. But broadly speaking, yeah, I kind of love that one. And I think it would be an obvious port over into a version of Warhammer's Nippon if you wished to do so. How's it going over there with your look?
I'm double checking. This one is not on my list.
Well, I don't know it, so I can't speak to it at all.
Yeah, let me just this
well,
one.
While you're doing that, I'll bring up Undertaker number 1 again. The reason for why I went with Chaos for Orochi is because it's considered the Japanese version of Chaos Kampf. So it would fit very well as a major Chaos character over in the East. And yes, again, I agree completely. I think that there is more than enough there for it to work as that. And yeah, I think it would be, as I'm imagining it actually as a piece of art right now and how it could manifest, be fucking amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, this one was the very first one. Yes, yeah, I got it.
Excellent. Let's bring it up. Let's see what we're going for this time.
It was when I was trying to figure out how I was going to make my list.
Oh, holy shit.
So the Meshipeshu. The Meshipeshu, or the underwater panther, is a creature from Native American lore that lives in the deepest part of the Great Lakes and connected waterways. Frequently an antagonist in tales responsible for dangerous lake phenomena. It can also be protective water spirit at times. It is the guardian of the lakes, the ruler of underwater creatures, and the guardian of local copper deposits. It is said to punish copper thieves with extreme vengefulness and was undoubtedly extremely dangerous. Appearance and size varies, but is most often an orca-sized feline body form with a long, thick swimming tail, reptilian scales, and bison horns, as well as a row of spikes on its back. Teeth, horns, claws, and spines are all made of copper. Important note, it's said to be the mythological opposite and opponent of the legendary Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird.
The copper connection is really, really, really strong and part of the core identity of the creature. Every myth involves some level of control over lakes and their weather systems, being able to summon deadly waves, riptides, and storms.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need to deal with all of the great extent of magical powers when we've got a creature that's already fucking perfect for the underseas beneath Nagaroth. This is perfect. It's perfect. Copy paste. It's great.
Yeah. So because the Nagaroth literally has the Great Lakes, and we know precious little about them, but they are massive. They're huge. They're even bigger than the real world ones. The real world ones are gigantic. So this being like the apex predator of the Great Lake area, perfect.
Or one of the apex predators. Let's be honest. There's really big shit down there that is going to make. There's always a bigger fish. But this one being somewhere in the middle of the big fish area, I think works perfectly. Really love it. I think we're already done. That was great. Yeah, genuinely great. I love it.
Yeah, and if they ever decided to do something with like a Native American culture, whether you go with something that's inspired by that, then having them in the underwater caverns that go throughout the continent allows them to appear in a lot of other places.
The
Tarask. The thing that started
Ultra Eldrin.
The thing that kicked off this entire string concept.
Indeed.
So we have our lovely Tarask. Where is that big turtle?
While you're doing that, I'll see if there's any more little super chatty bits there, which there was. I'm just pulling them up. And there.
I don't understand
the
how
Mishi Peshu is actually a mythical creature I feel could have a very feasibly evolved in the real world. Basically a cat which evolved to fulfill the niche of a crocodile or alligator in waters that are too cold. In my own art, the scales are actually just like the pangolin scales, which are just hardened hair. And you know what? I agree. It seems to be a natural creature to drop in this area, and I'm a great lover of creatures that feel like they could have naturally evolved in different environments and then making them fit in. Brilliant. Fire Snake 905. Goof Time Tooth Fairy, but it's like 12 foot, moves near silently, and steals all your teeth if it catches you. Crash that orc economy.
Yeah, there has been a lot of jokes about
this. It's the Tooth Fairy. Run, lads.
Honestly, that would be one of the things. Greenskins are actually really, really superstitious. It's one of the things that I always hope people remember about them is that they're extremely superstitious. And the idea that the orcs would have a concept like a Tooth Fairy for like orcs that like for some reason all their teeth start falling out or all sorts of other horrible things, which to them is like the most horrific thing possible, could be really, really fun. All right, so the Tarask. This is D&D has hilariously kind of overtaken the actual original myth as far as D&D making it like a nigh invincible, big pissed off dinosaur cat thing.
Sure,
but the basic story here is the Tarask, which was originally a unstoppable French monster that was tamed by a saint, but then killed by the fearful locals, which infuriated said saint. Could be a fun monster for Bretonnia, perhaps showcase a different side of the faction. What if it was perhaps a chaos creature that a Bretonian story tells the saga of how it was purified, the lady's might?
Nah. I wouldn't bother. I would drop it in heavily as just one of the many big, horrible creatures the knights go chasing in Bretonnia, and I think it fits in perfectly. I don't think we need to be any deeper than that, and then we add individual stories.
Bretonnia deserves unique big bad monsters.
Agreed, completely, and it currently lacks them, and I think this is perfect for that. So, yes to this. Let's port it in.
Yeah, it's just a big nasty beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it. Brilliant. Alrighty, let's see what's next on the Wheel of Mythic Monsters. It is... we go in Stony Bridge or Draymond? It's Draymond, the Necker.
Necker's a pretty famous critter. If you play the video games that I play.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking the same. I was like, I wonder what the Necker's like in non-video game versions. Now, while you're doing that, I'll see where we were on I got it. Oh, you got it.
Yeah. Well,
actually... interesting. So, this reminds me of the piece of art by Johan Egerkrans, who we had on Inside the Rookery. He had a really nice image of a Necker in that.
Ah, yeah. The Necker.
And for those of you who don't know, he's responsible for the Vaesen RPG, and that all of his art was ported over to make the Vaesen RPG.
So Draymond says, here in the Netherlands, we have very few interesting monster mythological creatures. I'm sure you have more than you give yourself credit for. Mostly falling back on general Germanic myth. But we have one unique monster to us called the Necker, quite literally translates to Necker, which comes in a variety of forms throughout the lowlands. So most is often known under local names after a bottle of water. So like the something Necker or something vent. It's always portrayed as a humanoid, though its appearance can be from a normal man to a black demon and said to lurk in water of ditches, canals, swamps, and even wells. It will grab isolated individuals, usually with a large hook, and drag them down into the water to drown them and generally drink their blood or otherwise. It's, of course, mostly used as a sail to scare children. Also, fun fact, there's a restaurant close to me named the Necker Meneke. Meneke is like a little man in a very southern Dutch accent. What? I used to go there several times as a kid, and they had a well that you could look through with a small hole they kept open on top. Oh, that's terrifying.
So this is one of two things. One, it's a water spirit. We're done. That's all it needs. It's a water spirit, and it's particularly
water spirit near Marienburg.
Yeah, it'll do this perfectly. It's a water spirit, and I don't think we need to go any further. You could, however, have it be some form of unique humanoid marsh-dwelling individual. your fishman equivalent for the marshes. And whilst you could do that, I don't think it's necessary, particularly given that Neckers and the various other spiritual type entities that these groups all share is generally a spirit. So I'd probably go with spirit and just run on with it.
Yep. Yeah, just it's Marienburg
like
localized river spirit.
Yep, totally.
Or water spirit.
What's next on the mythic wheel? Next, we have got ourselves. It's raw cyan. It's not. It's C. Beardington's bunyip. The bunyip.
Bunyips are fun. The bunyip. So let's see. This is from the.
Wow, that's not an image that I've seen before for a bunyip.
Bunyip.
While you're bunyipping along there, I'll just pick up Dynamon's comment. Semi-rant topic, much like the Charybdis, manticores are already in Warhammer, true. But where are their scorpion tails? And several of the manticore miniatures, believe it or not, did have them from Games Workshop. They did.
Yeah, a lot of the Warhammer fantasy ones, the older minis had them, and then they kind of
100%. And they kind of vanish in later ones, but it wouldn't surprise me if they return again when they do new models. It's one of those things that tends to cycle around Dynaman. So I don't know if I would just instead say there are different breeds of manticore in the Warhammer world, some of which have scorpion tails, some of which do not.
Yeah, I remember there was a whole hubbub when Age of Sigmar released their big heroic Lady of Cities of Sigmar on her manticore, because her one does not have a scorpion tail. A lot of people were like, where's the scorpion tail?
Where's the scorpion tail?
In fantasy, most of them are supposed to have it because that's where they got their poison attacks from, was the scorpion tail.
100%.
Sir Beardington, the bunyip. I quite like the bunyip, an aboriginal cryptid said to live in swamps and other bodies of water, known for making booming or roaring noises, and was given to devouring human prey, especially women and children. Additionally, the bunyip was also used as a synonym for imposter, pretender, humbug, and the like, which we could use as an inspiration to make a slightly more unique variant of evil river monster.
Basically, bunyip, cut, paste. There we go. We're already sorted for our lumber. Yeah, totally. It's a lumbering creature of the marshes, and it's fucking terrifying. We don't need to go any further. The bunyip's great as is. We don't need to do a great deal more. We just build ourselves a big, nasty, marshy beast that booms around in the forest, terrifying anyone and eating anything that crosses its path. Done.
Talia's sorry. It's not that she doesn't have the scorpion tail. She has feathered wings instead of bat wings. That's what the whole thing was about. Now I remember.
Good to know.
All right. Next.
Oh, we're spinning the wheel again.
Yeah, bunyips are great, especially if I like that some people have it where they make like a cacophonous, like they have a roar that's like boom loud and can like stun people, which is cool.
Ooh, it's gonna be Juris's cursed scarecrow. No normal scarecrow, a cursed one.
I only saw one scarecrow entry, so I don't know what. I'm just gonna go with the one that I have. TLDR, this one, y'all are gonna be sorry.
While you're looking for that, I'm just gonna bring up this comment from Aldrich. So many river monsters. Yeah, it's very common for anything that can cause you to die to have monsters attached to it. And the vast majority of people, when they're going about their normal existence in fields and around those areas, didn't encounter anything dangerous, so didn't die. You go into the forests, and believe it or not, most forests are pretty safe in most civilized areas. You're fine. Then you fall in a river and drown. So, rivers and seas and mountains often got any place that's out of it and you can't reach under a normal circumstance is given some sort of spirit. Like fucking hell, this. Fuck me.
So Juris, I'm gonna kind of undercut this one, and not intentionally. I'm just stating.
That's like Kev Walker. That looks like Kev Walker's. Is that Kev Walker?
It could be. I don't know.
Look, it's in the corner. Look, Kev Walker. It's Kev Walker.
Yeah,
I recognize an artist at 100 paces.
So we already have scarecrows in Warhammer.
Yeah,
like big scary ones. There are a lot of them. They don't show up in the battle game, but if you multiple editions of the roleplay game, they're in 2nd edition and 4th edition and 3rd edition too, I believe. But scarecrows are a classic in Warhammer, though there are different kinds. I will look at your.
That's a magic card, apparently, by Kev. There we go. Good to know.
I am looking. Oh my God, I don't know why I try and be like, oh, I can shortchange I could bet I could take a shortcut, because every time I try and take a shortcut, all I do is make it take longer.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll bring up a comment from Dynaman. Speaking of scorpions, the Goethe Blulu, I've said that badly, the original scorpion men from the Akkadian mythology. However, my favorite version is one that is a bird with a human head and a scorpion tail. Nice one.
That's a weird thought. Joris, I've always been a fan of cursed and living scarecrows in fiction, while recently using modern horror for media. So, okay, I'm just going to skip to see you. Historically, they've been used in various cultures, prominent even dating back to Egypt and Greece. Due to modern day storytelling, prominently use dark tools for nefarious masters, transformed to punishment, are both deserving. We've seen people, the extensive use of fears. Yeah, so scarecrows in Warhammer are traditionally very heavily associated with witches and sometimes necromancers, depending on the type of scarecrow. But it is not unusual to see like a wizard make a construct that is, it's a scarecrow that is either made with like out of various elements of wood or metal. They use all sorts of different materials. There's even a lot of them have a cool little thing where they have like the thing that the wizard uses to control them is usually in their chest, or like a little thing worn around their neck or in their head. And they're functionally impossible to put down unless you destroy whatever it is that's binding them. You can cut them up and they'll fall down, but it's still possible to animate. But they're a classic Warhammer monster. Classic.
Yep. Nothing else to say. Agreed. And just to bring up this one from Hippopotamus. This is just true of any naturally dangerous area. Our ancestors invented ways to scare us from going into places that would be hazardous to traverse to keep us alive. Yeah, you're right. 100%. Oh, this is the one we had earlier that I didn't remove. I'm glad it came back up, because we're not doing that one again. I didn't get to remove it, and every time I saw it spin round, it annoyed me. Now I can remove it. It's gone. I'm happy that came up. Now we get our actual result, which looks like Taurus, perhaps? Is it? No, it's Nagarash, the monster of Monty Python. Which one?
The one.
Is it the rabbit?
Yes, it's the rabbit. We basically covered this.
Or is it behind the rabbit?
I'm not even gonna bother pulling it up. So the rabbit we already talked about. We already talked about rabbits. It would just be like a horrible rabbit.
And the fact that a rabbit gets popped up in Monty Python when one views just how awful those rabbits were in the various marginalia of ancient medieval scrolls, it's no surprise that they went in that direction. I think it absolutely fits. It's not the one behind the rabbit. It's not that skull. It's the rabbit itself. And as we said already, cursed rabbits or rabbits that have been changed do fit Warhammer surprisingly well.
Are you sure? Because no one posted that image. The only Monty Python creature that was posted was the rabbit of Kerbanog. But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But if it's the monster in the cavern, that thing's literally just like a big fucking Jabberslythe. It almost looks like a Jabberslythe.
Jabberwock.
I know what I said.
Alrighty. So, wait a minute. It's me, isn't it? Let's pull that.
Huh?
Yeah, I was sitting there going, what are we waiting for? Oh, we're waiting for me. What are we going to get next? We're going for Mr. Shipperak. Shaperak.
Oh, the
new from Japanese folklore.
Yes. Nue.
Is it Nue? Is that how it's pronounced?
I don't know. It would the way the Japanese like to do their words, I would assume so, but you know what they say about assuming.
Yeah.
This one is from the Loremaster of Sotek submissions.
I'm gonna go check it up, see how it's pronounced. Nue. Yeah, Nue. Good one.
All right. I will, Mr.
Fucking look at that thing.
Mr. Shapirik. I will go for the Nue from Japanese folklore that are monstrous chimera described as having the head of a monkey, the body of a tanuki, the limbs of a tiger, and the tail of a snake. They have a horrifying bird-like cry that is said to be the bringer of omen of misfortune and impending disaster. It's also said they can appear from a black cloud. There's a story of how one was haunting an emperor in the Heian period who fell ill with medicine not healing him. This was until the samurai Minamoto no Yoshii was summoned to deal with the evil spirit. One night, Minamoto heard the bird cry coming from the black cloud, fired an arrow into it, which killed the Nue. The emperor then made a full recovery. The samurai was rewarded. Cool. Yokai spirit.
I'm not even sure it's a yokai one, is it?
No, actually, I don't think it is a. Well, I mean,
I'm pretty sure it's not. This is just one of the cryptids, I think.
From www.yokai.com.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not a yokai. At least that's for unrelated reasons. I may have read this one already, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't yokai. So on our side, we categorized it as a creature and a cryptid. And I think that with a better picture, as much as I love this one because it's very true to many of the descriptions, but I think with a more Warhammer-ized version, we get ourselves a really nice cryptid. And we don't need to probably go much further than that. Just a big cryptid.
Yeah, I would especially love the idea of a creature in the pond that can literally... okay, some chat's saying it's a cryptid, apparently. But...
Are they? Yeah, cool.
But, I mean, either way, you could have it... You could work it either way. But the idea of...
It says it's yokai in Wikipedia, apparently. So there we go.
Yeah. Works great as a yokai. Also works great as, like... You could just make it also, like, a monster that, like... can hunt from clouds, which would be very fucking spooky. Because man, you think clouds are safe, and all of a sudden, monkey chimera thing. Yeah,
with the body of a raccoon dog. Yeah. Perfect.
They
let's roll that one
over there. God, they love their tanuki.
I mean,
I will say, I actually really love the idea that it doesn't allow healing. Like, the idea that it would repel Gyran is super spooky. Oh,
the eye from Alien Earth. Oh, the eye from Alien Earth. Fuck me. I fucking hate that thing. Love it. It's a better 40k monster, though. So if you haven't watched Alien Earth, this thing's fucking awesome. Yeah. Have you watched it, Sotek?
No, I've never watched it.
Okay, so I'm not going to give any spoilers because I recommend, in a rare recommendation for me, go watch the show for this thing alone. Fuck the aliens. Watch it for this. You'll see it in the first couple of episodes and go, what the fuck is this thing? And then you'll watch it and you'll go, what the fuck? I don't want to spoil you all. But what I will say is that Professor Sharp's opinion, the eye is the MVP, is fucking spot on. Just think of an eye that wanders around on its own little spidery legs and at least gets you going. Instead of describing the creature, I'll go to what the actress said about it. She saw their first mock-ups of it and went, okay, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And then she tried to imagine what that would be like, because obviously they didn't have a real version of it running. And then she saw it on screen. I went, because it was fucking awful. It is, however, a perfect piece of 40k nonsense. I would prefer not to have this in Warhammer. However, if I was going to put it somewhere, I'd put it in Nagaroth in the north, where things have gone a bit weird with the great amount of dar that they've got there and how things go a bit strange.
Yeah, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's very, very detailed.
Yeah, don't read it because it's a massive spoiler.
I don't care about spoilers, but
no, but I do, because this show is worth watching for this.
Loud.
Yeah.
But I'll
for yourself. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, this works really well for a parasite that has been heavily mutated by a lot of dar, and like has. It's a very unfortunate thing. I'll give it that.
It's fucking awesome. It's worth watching the show just to see how this thing works. Trust me. So let's leave that one there.
3. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's an awesome one. But I put that one in 40k. It feels like a 40k creature. There's no need for it to go anywhere else, but it would work very well in Warhammer 2. Flatline will survive, and it's the Slide Rock Bolter. The what?
This thing is
what the heck is this?
This thing is surprisingly horrific, but also very stupid. So
fucking hell!
Yeah,
look at the size of it.
Yeah, the Slide Rock Bolter is.
What the fuck is this thing?
So this is a very bizarre creature. Basically, all that it does is it's a big monster that likes to. So I think it's an American cryptid. So it's this big creature that likes to get on top of high places, and it waits for people to be wandering past a mountain, and then it slides down so it can eat them. And then as it stretches out and eats, the momentum of its body, like stretching out, then lets it pull itself back up. So it basically just like comes down, grabs people in its mouth, and goes back up.
So it's so it comes down in a rock slide, it eats you, and then pulls itself back up. Look, this is fucking stupid. But
it's very stupid.
But
which makes it perfect.
The idea of, as described there, right there by Killeraholic,
yeah,
as a mudslide with teeth. there is something in that. Because often when it's a little bit like writing for Doctor Who, you take something that everybody is naturally afraid of and you turn it into a monster. And that's loosely how Doctor Who has managed to survive for 60 years, producing yet more shows. They take something that makes you scared, whether it's the dark, whether it's the unknown, or losing your memories, whatever else it might be, and they turn it into a monster. The idea of turning a rock slide into a monster is a good one. The idea of making it look like a big penis whale is perhaps not the best option.
And it could just be an unfortunate thing of this particular art.
This particular piece of art, which actually makes me laugh. But I quite like the idea of something that comes down in the scree, all the loose rock, and gobbles you up from underneath. There's something in that, and I think we could definitely make something perhaps better than a penis whale that holds onto a mountain by one presumes it's stretchy gonads. We don't need stretchy gonads in our monsters, but I think there's definitely something in this.
I really like this concept as a monster that the dwarfs warn about, and the dwarfs hate these things, like loathe them, and like warn people about them, and like some people just think they're ridiculous myths or whatever. And if you come across one, they're basically an ambush predator that triggers an already hard to survive event, which is nasty. Like that's double whammy of suck, which would be fun.
And in the end, if you're looking to create something that creates a lot of meat, as in a rock slide that kills people and leaves meat behind, you could see that if something was big enough and had enough intelligence, it could do this. And then combine that with something that can actually burrow or move underneath this loose rock, and you've got yourself a perfect predatory situation. I think that there's something in this. I would very much like to see this manifested and turn into something real, but the example that we have currently is clearly nonsense.
Yeah, let's make it a little more threatening, a little less violating looking.
Yeah. Holy shit. Oh no, the penis rockfall. Is it Jaunty Scarecrow? Is it? It's not. It's El Lobo with the Mongolian death worm.
So, okay, this one, a bit of a not super controversial opinion, just kind of like a base fact. We already have it, to be honest. It's literally the oh my good god, the Dreadmaw. Thank you. It's basically just the Dreadmaw. The Dreadmaw is very heavily inspired by it. Mongolian Deathworm, of course, is really, really famous. Like I don't even have to look up the entry. Thank you very much for the entry. But it's basically a big, horrible sandworm that is said to be extremely toxic. And some of its myths have grown exponentially more fantastical, where some of them are like, absolutely massive and they have a lot to do with the Doomworm. But most of the like actual myths and stories, they're quite small, but they're like extremely venomous. Horrifically venomous. So you could, if you based it on like the smaller version, this could be a fantastic creature that lives out in like the Darklands or the Warpstone Desert of Cathay, that has nightmarish venom. Does the Dreadnought?
Yeah, I would possibly twist it. Yeah, I mean, because we've already got this, so I would look for creating something a little bit different in to the north of Cathay. And running with that. This is definitely an interesting
they do shoot
potential, a potential story where we could take the already existing Dreadmaw and build it up with another variety of it, a different strain of Dreadmaw that perhaps burrows in a different way, that perhaps is attached to Azir, is perhaps a deep blue in color instead. And manifests in a slightly different way. But broadly speaking, let's just get ourselves a new version of a Dreadmaw and work with that.
Yeah, if it burrowed through like the mountains, like the ancient giant lands and stuff, it would be really high up in the atmosphere.
Even that's too far. I'd want to move it much further east, further east, because it's a Mongolian. I mean, right into the east. Where
it's a step, so it's
it is. Yeah. But I wouldn't like it to be part of the mountains, because it doesn't feel like it's a mountain creature. You'd want to be part of them beside the plains and what's going on north of the Great Bastion.
Yeah, you know what? I would actually love if it somehow managed to have some version of being charged with Azir, because that would help support how the Cathayans interpret Azir as the meteor wind, the wind of stone, as opposed to being more.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, you're winning me on that one. Okay, you're also winning me towards moving it towards mountains now as well. Yep. Okay, winning me around. Good job. Yeah.
It would allow it to be different.
It would. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that quite a lot.
I'm not quite sure how to.
Oh, Alexa, shut up.
She's talkative today.
Yeah, she really is. It's the third time she's woken up for me today.
Yeah, she was interrupting our meeting earlier. It was crazy.
Henri, Harm, is it Harm? Krat from Estonia.
Yeah,
is it Harm?
Yeah,
if you're out there, Henri or Henry, depending on how you pronounce it, is it Harm or Harm? I'm super excited to know, because I love to see how diacritics are used. While you're doing that, I shall pull up a quick comment or two.
Freaky looking.
I believe we might be there. Fun fact about the bunyip: they may be inspired by the Diprotodon, a gigantic relative of the wombat. Wow, really?
Huh. I mean,
okay, that was 1.8 meters high at the shoulder and weighed up to, fuck me, that's a heavy one. 3,500 kilos. That's 7,700 pounds.
As much as it would be kind of cool, I'm so glad we don't live in an age of things being as fucking big as they used to be.
Megafauna is scary. Yeah, Undertaker number 1, because I recently saw a piece of fan art for the Digimon Machine Draymon in 40k. How about a Skull Greymon? An effing huge, effing angry undead dinosaur hell-bent on destruction. When it originally died, its combat instincts just kept going, even as its body decayed. It also has an organic nuclear missile in its back. Of course it fucking does.
It's easy. You have a dragon corpse that haunts the dragon's graveyard, and it's still like
we already kind of have that. Yeah, good point well made.
These already basically exist. So this is the Krat from Estonian folklore. So this creature is a demon that offers helping hands to farmers in exchange for making a pact with the devil. From Estonian folklore, the Krat is a creature born of human desire and cunning. Traditionally, it's constructed by its master from household scraps, such as tools, hay, bones, or any refuse at hand, and brought to life through a pact with the devil, sealed by offering 3 drops of blood from the master in question, which sells your soul to the devil. Some stories, the farmers have tried to use juice instead of blood to trick the devil so they can keep their souls. This usually does not work. Once animated, the Krat becomes an obedient servant, a tireless worker that can steal, carry, or create whatever its master commands. Its body is often a chaotic tangle of junk and tools, animated by infernal fire that glows in its hollow eyes. Though seemingly loyal, the Krat's devotion is rooted in the greed and pride of its maker. If left without orders, it becomes restless and dangerous, turning on its master in a fit of demonic frenzy and trying to kill them.
Right, so we've already got this. This is, if we just take away the names and everything else, this is how familiars are created. It's not the only way to create familiars, but building something and binding a spirit to it and basically bending it to your will is a core component of how some familiars are created, often using a local spirit and infusing that spirit into the local thing. And it involves doing a binding, which also often involves making a deal with the spirit. So this already exists. It's basically how familiars work for some familiars. Some of them aren't work like this. Some of them are actual spirits going to animals. Some of them are entirely different on top of that. But this is a classic automaton familiar. So we already have this. And I love that we could have different names and different manifestations of it. What I particularly like about it is that there's no reason that it has to be just wizards that do this. Anyone who's magically active could potentially try to bind spirits into servitude and use them to basically be their house slaves. I love that too. Perfectly works on this, particularly if this house slave should find a way out of its deal or its binding and will probably massacre the entire family that enslaved it. Good Warhammer tales abound.
Yeah, this creature works especially well for like warnings about people that try to create things like familiars and they don't know what they're doing. So things that they did not intend, like their personal greed and avarice and stuff leaking into their creations, is awesome. great.
Yeah, this is great. Love it. There's nothing here that I would particularly change for Warhammer. There's a good tale here, and we already have existing examples of it, so we can just use it. Alrighty.
Spin away.
Spin, spin, spin. We're now on to Necromancer Kobold. And what is Necromancer Kobold? Mimic.
The Mimic. Classic.
Fuck off. There we go. Done.
So mimics,
I fucking hate them.
Yeah. So first of all, they're terrible. They're absolute bastards. They're not that weird in Warhammer. If anything, the reason I think they honestly didn't appear in Warhammer is because unfortunately they become very basic. They're very basic monsters. You can have them in Warhammer so easily without doing anything.
I mean, there's already various familiars that are basically this already. Particularly a familiar that's been bound into a chest to protect the wizard's goods. And then you come along and you're not the wizard, so it tries to eat you. There are various examples of similar things to mimics that don't make them a species of weird chest-like creatures, because fuck that. So we already have it in Warhammer, but we have it in a better way, I would argue.
Yeah, and like if you ever are like, oh, but I want like an object that my players expect to be safe, and it's not, like, just that's magic.
There's loads of ways to do it.
It's lots of ways to do that. There's so many ways to do that.
100%. Here we go. Spin that wheel, and we have this time.
I will say that the Dark Soul ones are particularly horrific because their limbs they're way bigger than they have any right to be.
Shoo, the Caming Beast from China. I don't know the Caming Beast. This should be fun.
Yeah, the Caming Beast is really good. The art that he posts was really cool.
Okay, looking forward to this one. While you're looking for that, I'll see if I can get through another comment or two. Where were we last? I do believe I'll just pull up this one first. The eye from Alien Earth looks cool. That's because it fucking is. But spider with giant eye does remind me of the one episode of Red Dwarf where android Crichton is stranded and detaches his hand and sticks his eye in one of the fingers and then sends it off to get help. Yes, similar. Certainly not the fucking same though. One is funny. The other one is not.
Sure. Thank you very much for your submission. Shu says, may I present the Caming Beast, which is the literal translation. Oh, the literal translation is the progressive beast from Chinese mythos. In ancient texts, classics of mountains and seas, it said that he has the body of a tiger, but 9 distinct human heads. Oh. He is the guardian for Mount Kunlun, which is actually in Warhammer. We have a Mount Kunlun because that's where the Celestial Dragon Emperor was born.
Yeah.
A sacred mountain that's considered the pillar of the world, connecting heaven and earth and the dwelling place of gods and immortals. The mountain had 9 entrances, and the beast guards all 9 entrances of the mountain and has the ability to see and observe all things. It is responsible for examining all living beings entering and leaving the divine realm.
Right. Long story short, sure, but it does sound like a single entity rather than anything else, like a big spirit that lives in a particular area. It doesn't really fit the Cathay we have just now, where they don't focus heavily on spiritual or even demonic entities.
I think there's a way you could fuck with this one.
Okay, cool.
So if we take the Celestial Lion of Grand Cathay, which is a big, horrible chaos beast that the Celestial Dragon purified, if his birthplace somewhere that is probably extremely significant, and there are various nefarious forces that would want to go there because it says that like his eggshells were there and it's a whole place of huge significance. If the Celestial Dragon Emperor created something or purified something with 9 heads, or there's a more sinister thing, a more sinister truth,
or what if this is one of the ones that wasn't cleansed?
It could be it's contained on the mountain.
Yeah. And there's still ones there that carry all the horrific mutation that was once cleansed out by the Dragon Emperor. You could do something like that. Although they're lion rather than tiger.
Like the one that stayed that way.
Yeah, too old, too powerful.
And it having the 9 heads, perfect. That's Zinch.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. We can even have a lovely story of the Dragon Emperor facing off against it for basically stealing its children. And the Dragon Emperor didn't win. Okay, that makes for a fun little tale where it holds off the Dragon Emperor.
Well, that it's like one of the like horror story things that like there are myths and rumors about in Cathay that there is something awful on the mountain
and its heads howl and scream because it's in pain because of its.
The second you cross a barrier into one of the 9 caves that leads up to the top of the mountain, it knows you're there. It instantly knows you're there.
And it's calling for its children to come home. The children that have been basically stolen by the Dragon Emperor and cleansed.
That's fun. I like that. That's great.
Like that, we've got ourselves a story. So the answer to this one is yes. Let's include it.
Also, a Tzeentchian creature called the Progressive Beast. Hilarious. Perfect. On brand.
Okay, next we are diving into Hirvan and the Poludnica? Lady Midday. Poludnica. I don't know this one.
Wraith. Yeah, if you've ever played The Witcher, you're probably like, I know what that is.
I have completed The Witcher twice, and I don't recall it. Fuck.
You don't remember the Noon Wraith?
The Noon Wraith. Yes, I do. Yeah. Oh, fuck me. First time I got that one, it sucked.
Yeah, they're pretty mean. Let's see. So that is from the LAWhammer side.
So so is that Povodnitsa or Poudnitsa?
Sorry. He actually included pronunciation. So it's
he did.
Powadnisha.
Powadnisha. Okay, cool. And we're almost certainly pronouncing it wrong. Thanks though for trying to help us terrible speakers of foreign languages to us.
Thank you for the entry. Known as Lady Midday or the Noon Wraith, also sometimes known as the Noon Witch, from Poland. During harvest, on the hot days when the sun was the highest, you had to stop work and seek shelter, hide children in the shade, not let them out, and leave the fields and get under trees to avoid the Noon Wraith, stalking and hunting the crops. Woe upon folk who fell asleep in the open, and the crops or refused to stop working, for they were met by a not quite right figure of a young woman, although sometimes old hag or young girl, visibly disheveled, wrapped in sun-bleached linen with a storm of blonde hair, often carrying a scythe, sickle, or shears, accompanied by heat haze and mirages. Their presence on the field was often heralded by sudden appearance of small dust devil like whirlwinds. She would ask you a riddle, and depending on your answer, will either let you go or inflict serious illness, madness, hallucinations, or even sudden death. They were literally a personification of heat stroke, given agency, and served as a deterrent from overexhausting folk working in the fields. These are the commonalities. Now, between local folklore, these may be spirits of women deceased during weddings or while working, especially due to foul play. They were rumored to be very vengeful and actively seeking harm in those cases. They served as a reminder to respect one's natural limitations and avoid hubris, where quite often seen as somewhat uncertain protectors of the crop itself, especially valuable ones, but good workers too. These are fun.
Yeah, I like these purely because they've got a lot of character.
About them
and I think we're probably looking at, especially given where it is, slap it in as one of the more active spirits that you'll find over in Eastern Ostland. And we're moving towards the Kislev Verge, so we're not yet over into the deep permafrost of Kislev, where everything has gone a little bit weird. We're over on the Ostland side, where crops of this ilk are not uncommon, particularly when you move up into the northern marches across there. And it's much more spiritually active than other parts of the empire because it's so close to Kislev, and those old spirits are still running. And the hags of Kislev have crossed over into the northern marches more than once to deal with and speak to the local spirits that are in that area. This would be a perfect inclusion in that area. I don't even think we need to do that much in terms of changing it to Warhammerify it. All we need to do is just give it a bit more consistency as to why it exists, what it's doing, rather than just, it's the dead person of a whatever. It's not a ghost. I wouldn't make it a ghost. I would make it its own spiritual entity. And figuring out what that spiritual entity is and why would be the job of Warhammerifying it.
Yeah, one thing I love is that this would definitely be a creature where you could see there's like fun, like the Cult of Rias specializes in warning about or dealing with these things.
Yeah,
further south, which would be great. And plus,
I particularly like as well if there might even be some antagonism to Raya that we could build into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The locals believe that the spirits should be protected, where the Ryans believe that they should be driven out. Ryans believe that the crops should be free of these things, where the locals are like, no, They protect us in other ways. And yes, there is danger if you are not careful around the spirits, but if you are careful and you do what you're told, okay, they preserve things that you and your Ryan ways don't. Particularly if you look at the past history between Ostland and Talabicland. Talabicland has got strong Ryan roots all the way through much of what they believe. And they've invaded Ostland again and again and again. So allowing that to manifest in the local mythology works really nicely. Cool. Like that one?
Yeah, that's great.
Yep, great. Thanks for that one. Kicks ass. Sorry for pronouncing it so badly.
I'm going to grab a super chat real quick.
I was going to do the same.
From TV, Rover from The Prisoner.
I don't know Rover from The Prisoner because I never watched The Prisoner, which constantly amuses and confounds my friends of my age who are like, how could you have not watched The Prisoner, Andy? And the answer is, I just didn't.
From what I could tell, this is a big, stupid fucking balloon.
Is it the ball?
Yes. That,
yeah,
I guess if it runs you over, it just sucks you up. I guess.
It can fuck off. Yeah. You could get that in the realm of chaos. So we're talking right in the weird place where everything's gone a bit wobbly and strange. But yeah, I don't think that that one would particularly work well.
Yeah. Okay. This one's quite.
I just need to bring up a comment. Ahold the Drinker is not demonic. Ahold the Drinker is a god that is 100% nothing to do with chaos. Just to make sure we're clear on that one. Just to make sure we're clear.
Okay, so this one's quite close to my heart because I fucking love Dungeon Keeper.
The Underlords from Dungeon Keeper. So I played Dungeon Keeper more than once. So which ones are the Underlords? Which ones are these?
It's what you're playing as.
Oh, okay. Okay, so basically a Dungeon Keeper.
A Dungeon Keeper. But he didn't want to call it a Dungeon Keeper because he's like, that's too close to a Keeper of Secrets.
Oh, right. Yeah, fair enough.
I just gotta find his entry.
Hamid, that joke is shit. You'll see it soon when we bring up the super chat, but it made me laugh. Fucking hell.
You could do a couple super chats because
okay, I'll do a couple of super chats while you're doing this because I'm too busy being amused. Right, let's roll down. Where were we? You just did that one, so we're on Sarmelian. Hold on, I thought we were limited to cryptids and myths. If we're allowed to use monsters from other settings, then the Night Geiger from Songs of Silence. I don't know what that is. Do you know what the Night Geiger is? Oh, no.
If you want to do some Google food real quick, you can.
Okay, I'll have a quick check while we're doing this. Night Geiger. This better be worth it, Sarmelian. If it's not, I am going to Night Geiger. Night Geiger from Songs of Silence. Images. Let's see what this thing looks like. The Night Geiger, hey, it looks, this one here, fucking hell, what the fuck is that thing? Night Geiger, Songs of Silence wiki. What the fuck is that? I have literally no idea what this thing is. It's like looks like a Charybdis with eyes in it, and the tentacly bits on either side are going a little bitty.
That literally just looks like a slightly different Charybdis.
It looks like a Charybdis, if I'm being honest. Yeah,
it looks like, because the Charybdis even has the mouth and the chest, which a lot of people don't realize, but it has the big chest mouth.
Yeah, totally. So appears that we have a Charybdis. So thanks for that one.
It looks like a.
If you've got any other details about what it does, do drop it in the chat. Alex, about an hour behind the Charybdis. Perfect timing. As it turns out, when you get to this comment about an hour away from now, you'll go, ho, ho, ho. My comment was not so out of sync. And it's sad how much Greek mythology is ported in. I don't think that's sad. I think it's good. But the bit that I do think sad, you're probably going to move on to because yet no Greek culture exists. Damn fucking straight, it annoys me. The number of times I tried to squeeze it into the Border Princes in one fashion or another, particularly with, well, we won't get there. I've tried. I was pushed back more than once. Also, how poorly pronounced spelled they are. The spelling, yes. The poorly pronounced, everything in Warhammer is poorly pronounced because that's just what happens. And apologies to the world. Breaks my little Greek cardia heart. And yes, I totally understand. But I wish it was better.
Just remember, if you ever end up writing for Warhammer, maybe you can continue the fight to try and sneak in Greek shit and actually make it stick.
It's because of the browser that I'm using on this side. I have no preference for Bing at all. It's just because the browser I've got open for this one is defaults to Bing. My other browser defaults to Google.
So Raven says, I would like to suggest the Underlords. Underlords are demonic entities in Dungeon Keeper and War for the Overworld. They are functionally demons that create sprawling dungeons filled with traps, monsters, and infrastructure to enact war upon the forces of good. They bend the will of... They bend the wills of a variety of
No!
monsters to their cause and even torture individuals into submission.
No!
Underlords are static creatures who cannot really move by any means.
No.
But any area claimed as part of their dungeon, they can see and manipulate. Also, anything nearby tends to become their minions, yada, yada, yada. While their ability to spellcast outside their dungeon is limited, they have a horrific power within. To actually expand their dungeon, they create little imps that do stuff. Yeah, they create a little underlord stuff. So, I'll be blunt. This would not, I don't think, work well as a species, but I do think what you could do is use this as an inspiration for certain kinds of demons that are utilized by groups of mortals. So, like, if you have a chaos
hard disagree. Hard. The reason I hard disagree is because anytime anyone tried to add anything that was D&D video game-esque in this fashion to make dungeons, every writer said, if you do that, I quit. Because Warhammer is not about dungeon bashing, except when it's Warhammer Quest. And it's all about the creatures that live there, making it feel realistic. The stories aren't about creating weird demonic hellholes. Individual demons can do this. And I'm sure we could do an individual demon that does this thing. But I wouldn't do it the same way. I'd make it Warhammer, and it wouldn't be anything like this. This isn't D&D. That is a D&D creation. This is an excuse to build a giant dungeon bash. And dare I say it, this is an Age of Sigmar creation. This is something that feels Age of Sigmar as they justify whatever story, because Age of Sigmar has been built around justifying their miniatures bashing each other in the same way that 40k kind of has in many respects. Warhammer wasn't built that way. And this is porting something that feels out of Warhammer into Warhammer, and it just doesn't feel like a good fit when you could build better stories. And I would prefer to build a good story rather than just default to I want to build a dungeon, so I make a demon that makes dungeons around it.
So I will say that I think this works fine for like individual stories. This is basically one of the Vermintide maps from the original Vermintide, where there's a big demon, a chaos guy of Nurgle who's got his soul stuck in his fucking monolith, and he's doing things around it, and he creates a big thing. You have to destroy the pustules to get close to him and everything, and like blow him up.
Yeah, but that's different because it's not creating a dungeon; it's defending itself.
Yeah, but it's functionally a dungeon when you're running.
It's completely different, and that's the difference. One is a story. One is a story about a thing that's protecting itself. The other one is this builds dungeons to get people to come in and do dungeon bashing, so it kills them.
So what I'll say is, if your last suggestion about it being for a chaos fortress, if you wanted to have a singular chaos fort, I wouldn't make this a regular thing, but if you have a singular chaos fortress that exists somewhere in the chaos waste, where at its heart there's a big horrible demon that's imprisoned there, and it's able to affect things within a certain radius, and it tries to influence.
See, that's great. That's a good story. That's totally fine, but that's quite different to it creates dungeons to entice heroes.
Yes, I agree.
And that's what I would hard nope on. It's nothing to do with trying to drag in heroes in that. Let's justify us having a game of D&D. It's got a proper story.
Yeah, Grizz, the sleeper is not dissimilar. It's not dissimilar, yeah. Though it's
as long as you got a good story, suddenly it moves from no to, yeah, you got me. But it requires a strong story to justify it.
The Silver Towers in AOS are literally D&D dungeons. They are.
Yeah, the Silver Towers are also in Warhammers, where they started. The Silver Towers are a Warhammer thing that just got ported over. But the Silver Towers in Warhammer were, again, completely different. They weren't. Yeah,
the AOS ones are literally floating D&D dungeons, because the Silver Tower board game is a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, played it many times.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Fun enough game.
All right, spin it.
Oh, shit. Spin. Also, no!
As a species, no. As a specific circumstances, absolutely not a problem.
Oh, it just creeped over there. Oh, my goodness. Siegfried. The Glosson from Sweden.
Siegfried,
is that Glosson or Glosson? I'm not sure.
I'm so fucking. Don't come to me for pronunciations. Oh yeah, this one's like the evil pig monster.
Evil pig monster. I'm already smiling.
Yeah. So here we go. The Siegfried KKP. Thank you very much. So he decided to look for a local creature to the area he's around, and found the Glossin, the feared ghost pig / boar / swine. The Glossin is a, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but translated to English is a nature spirit from the south of Sweden. Let's see. It's also had rare sightings across other parts of the country. Its origins are mostly unknown, but some believe that it was either related to... some believe that it's related to a boar that was once ridden by the god of Freya, brother of Freyja. Freyr, I guess.
Jim Weller.
Yeah, I know, man. Doing so good. Okay. Trying to get down here. Descriptions. So Glossin is a individual, not a species. So Glossin is often described as a big white sow with burning or glowing eyes, sharp tusks, and a back formed as a saw blade that glimmers like fire. Other descriptions claim she has 100 eyes all over her body that glow like the worst fire imaginable.
Holy shit.
She's also been described as spewing fire from her mouth or just being a giant fireball. She also has the ability...
It's a big giant mutant pig from Norska. There we go.
Yeah. She's able to go invisible like many spirits around here. She mostly lives in Karen's fields and is roamed about country roads. If you encounter her, you better cross your legs. Otherwise, she will run in between your legs, then impale you and force you to ride her into the darkness where she will kill you or slice you in half. So basically, if you don't cross your legs, she'll kill you.
Yeah, sure. It's a giant mutant pig. I don't think we need anything particularly special for this because Warhammer is designed to create creatures like this.
Yeah,
and when we're up in Norska, some sort of big horrible one that's up in the mountains in Norska, yeah, that'll do fine.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminds me of the black sow of one of the Bretonian places.
Oh yeah. They
have a big black pig. That's
big massive black pig. Yeah, totally. So the answer to this one is absolutely yes. There's a big, massive mutant pig in the north of Norska, and it sucks.
Yeah, I will say there is
perfect.
Something very funny to me about a pig that if you don't crush your legs fast enough, it cuts you in half. That is super funny.
Yeah, there is something to that. We're coming close to time, so we'll need to dive through a few relatively quickly and also get through our Frankie, the LAWhammer. LAWhammer. Is it hair? Is it here? I'm not sure.
Let's see. Here.
How many have we got left?
A lot.
We got a lot.
we'll probably do a part 2 at a later point. This one. So. This one's kind of weird.
Well, this looks interesting.
Yeah. Oh, god damn it! No, I didn't want to click that. Go away. Go away. Go away. Let's see. Here. There he is. Frankie, let me tell you about LAWhammer, a monster from Quebecois folklore. Translated version from Storybook. Also known as the long-tailed beast. The hare was once most often seen around lumber camps in northern Quebec. However, it was reportedly sighted in 1912 in broad daylight near places don't care about that. Unable to clearly describe the creature, the most notable thing about it is it has a 2-meter long tail covered in red fur.
Sure.
Other people that have seen it say it's always nearly impossible to identify. Legend has that it was born without a father or a mother. It merely created from a world of darkness for the sole purpose of tormenting the living. It's supposed to appear every 50 years on a night of utter darkness. Those who met its gaze, anyone that meets its gaze instantly vanishes and leaves no trace. Anyone that has ever attempted to hunt it vanishes and leaves no trace. The unique beast is only recognizable by its tail and still prowls the northern forests. It hides, perfectly blending in with its surroundings. It remains an extreme threat and is blamed to this day for campers that go missing under mysterious circumstances. So the biggest thing about it, and the one of the storybook that he showed that has a whole thing about it, is that the only people that ever survive encountering it or seeing it is purely because they see its tail. That's the only part of it you can get away with seeing without being killed.
Sure. Okay. Well, this is this sounds like a Forest of Shalom beastie that we need more detail for.
Yep.
I mean, there's little else we can say. We've got, the tail and what else. But I definitely think I could build this one up into something super fun for Britonia.
That would I do like the idea. There's something very Olgu-y about it, where it only appears on like really, really dark nights and like barely anyone ever gets a look at it. All they get is that little snippet of a tail. And that when people do see it, they're just gone. There's something really fun and interesting there.
Okay, I'm going to run through a bunch of super chats.
Yep.
Because we are at that point.
For a potential end faction, the Yali. They have the body of a lion and the tusk and trunk of an elephant, and occasionally equine features. They often appear in the architecture of South Indian temples, so it could be used as a protective creatures of war, maybe even mounts or monstrous cavalry, roughly demigryph/mornfang size. Sure, yeah, absolutely, they could do that, no problem.
Yes. That's pretty much it, really. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Recent media make mimics huge hermit crabs as well. Yeah.
It popped up in Delicious in Dungeon as well as an idea, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad one. It's pretty cool. The problem is the idea that apparently dungeons are just filled with chests that they happen to mimic their way between. Yeah, bullshit. The lack of that sort of thing. It'd be easier going for an actual shell or something of that ilk. Yeah, it's a nice idea, but I think in practice is a bit nonsense.
Yeah, Necromancer Cobalt. Well, yes, it shows the mimic. I use the Dark Souls version, which is could be more interesting than the OG. Could be similar to a version of Morgul's.
Well, it's fucking creepy as fucking Dark Souls.
Yeah, they're creepy. They make gross noises, and like a creature that looks like something a human might try to get near that then attacks them. Sure, like uses a form of camouflage.
I have no problems with the concept at all. I do have a problem with these as a species because it's something that definitely would happen because magic exists. People would be setting traps up of all kinds and using magic to hide one thing as another thing. They
wouldn't be natural creatures,
but not a natural creature. Yeah, it just feels. It doesn't feel Warhammer, which is for all its high fantasy through the wazoo. It's also surprisingly grounded.
What do you call a dreadmaw that is
that's the one that made me laugh earlier.
Shy Halud. Oh my God.
It made me laugh earlier.
How my can my boy Anomalakaris fit in? The OG Apex, bro. It would be in Lustria. I know you're talking about something.
What is Anomalakaris?
It's some kind of big dinosaur thing, I would
guess.
That
cool?
Anomalakar. Because it's Dinoman, so it's it's the big it's one of the like really, really old aquatic creatures.
Ah, yeah, cool. Okay.
It was the largest. Look at it just now. One of the largest animals of the Cambrian era, and was one of the first apex predators on Earth. It's in the ocean somewhere. The end.
That feels like it'd be there.
Dungman, the Hundun. Oh, yeah, I looked up the Hundun. I was doing a lot of research on the Hundun when Cathay was getting built. A Chinese mythical creature is basically a faceless blob with 6 legs and 4 wings. They're made of the nebulous chaos before heaven and earth separated. They're very unintelligent and chaotic. Also featured in the Shang-Chi film, where one is nicknamed Morris by Ben Kingsley's character. Yeah, would. These would very easily just be a creature that is known to roam the northern chaos wastes above Grand Cathay and has been sighted up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just perfect. Yep.
Sorry, that was Darius. Not Donovan. Sorry, Darius. Okay, I think we got time for like 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, I'm jumping on them straight away. Quite excited to see if we can get through a few more before we're on time. Morning contestant, looks like we've got you. Ooh, maybe not. Yes, we did. The Church Grim.
Oh, this one is pretty straightforward. We kind of covered this earlier. It's
black
very
dog.
Similar. It's a black dog that is more tied into cemeteries and stuff. We're going to tie this in with our earlier answer because it works fine for that.
Okay, cool. Because we're late in the day, we'll just carry on fast. Let's pull up.
I know they're not exactly the same, but what we talked about with the black dog earlier, I think would still work well for it. There might just be like more peaceful versions.
Beefo Color King, is it going to be you? Looks like it. Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot. So Bigfoot, to put it very bluntly, Bigfoot would work fine.
Big, massive mammalian creature in Nagaroth that eats people. Yes.
Yep. They're big monkeys. Or big gorilla creatures. Because I mean, similar creatures used to exist in real world history. They would literally just be big mammalian creatures that haunt the
and as already been put up, some equivalent to a troll, and in fact, attached to a troll, it totally makes sense. Hairy troll, all of those comments loosely make sense.
If you wanted to make them yeah, a part of me would love for them to kind of be their own thing, but
I
you could also
agree.
make
I would prefer to make them their own thing because I don't like combining this stuff too much. Make the trolls the old world variant, but broadly speaking, yeah.
Yeah, give the Dark Elves something where the Dark Elves are like, yeah, we don't go out in the forest because it sucks. There's like some really mean shit over there.
And Beer says oh my goodness, I don't know that. Gorinich? Gorinich?
Yeah, so translates to fireworm.
I'm almost certainly pronouncing that wrong. Oh, look at that. It looks like a flying hydra.
Yeah, yes, it does. And this is in the LAWhammer Discord. This one's actually pretty straightforward. Let me just... here we go. Fire-breathing dragon has multiple heads, most commonly 3, but sometimes often has numbers divisible by 3, so 6, 9, 12. It can breathe fire. However, it's often considered very watery. He kidnaps people and likes to eat them one at a time. It's a hydra that can fly. It's a flying hydra.
We don't really need to go beyond... Yeah, that's totally something that would fit in Warhammer.
Yep. It's basically aquatic.
Where was it from again?
Slavic.
Slavic. Okay, so yeah, we could slap that. I mean, it's not really in the old world yet, but we could definitely mess around with it somehow. Let's see if we can get another couple in before we stop.
Yeah, I mean, you could very simply have it of like, oh, the hydras that you find in the old world sometimes have wings.
Yeah,
sure.
Totally. Alternate variety. Harlequin. Pulcinella. Italian folklore.
Yeah, so the OG
Pulcinella?
Harlequin. Yeah, Pulcinella. Boop. And then boop. And then I go to boop. And that one, fuck, I didn't write down which Discord it's in because I hate myself. I think it's basically just a trickster spirit. Is it in the LAWhammer Discord? Scanning. Nope. It's in the Loremaster of Sotek Discord. Scanning. Because I remember it was 2 images that were side by side. Ah, there you are. Technically, translates to mass. They actually have a huge history behind them, working midway between life and death. Harlequin was also described as the leader of an undead army. Pulcinella is the one so the undead decided to flee away. Basically, they're spirits / entities that survived from really ancient rites, who tricked and overcame corruption itself. So they're spirits of a sort.
Spirits of a sort. And they sound more like ghosts of a sort, actually, rather than spirits per se. As in, spirits literally, I suppose. But we use spirits generally to be like the spirits of the land, and ghosts.
Yeah. So a type of particularly persistent ghost.
Yeah. I think you could probably pull them in with that and not have to create any special lore for it. Let's see if we can get another one squeezed in here.
Last one. Make it a biggin.
Baylor. Oh, Baylor's already in there. If it is Baylor.
Okay, we're gonna skip Baylor. Baylor's already.
Baylor of the Evil Eye is already in there, tied directly to the Fimmer.
Yeah, he's a god of.
Yeah, indeed. And the Celtic myths, obviously from Ireland in particular, Baylor. I'm always certainly pronouncing that wrong too because I pronounce everything wrong. But regardless, Baylor, whatever it might be, is already sort of there and tied to the Fimmer, the Fim. So we're already done. Let's see if we can get another one in. It's Cat Mark saying what on earth is this? The Bona? Oh no, it's moved on. The Boy Dragon, the Jersey Devil. I don't know the Jersey Devil. I mean, I've heard of it, but that's about it.
The Jersey Devil is be a pretty easy translation to Warhammer. I don't know how the people of Jersey came up with this fucking thing. Jersey Devil. Yeah, I was hoping we get the Stallygaster too. I might squeeze in here at the end just for fun because multiple people submitted it.
Keep it for next time. Keep it for next time.
True.
Yeah.
Sure. Where the fuck is Jay? Is it one of the ones that... Oh, no, it's one of the ones that was the wrong file type. So I have to convert it really fast because it was a fucking WebP file. So let me do that. There we go. That's translated. Now I just got to reopen this. Nope, not that button. Please, no, don't do that. Okay, there we go. Jersey Devil.
Got it?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, here we go. Oh, shit.
He's on the... Yeah, it's like one of the few American cryptids that's not kind of...
This is something quite fun to end on. Look at this fucking thing. Yeah,
it is. It's a fun little thing. The Jersey Devil. So this one the Jersey Devil is an individual, not a species. But the Jersey Devil is a very notorious creature that was born when a mother made the horrible mistake of, before she gave birth, exclaiming to the world, "Let this one be the devil," and her wish was granted. And it is a creature that has haunted Jersey for hundreds of years, and many believe it to be the spawn of Satan with a human. And it has a bunch of composite various body parts and is a horrible creature that haunts the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, where it is a winged, goat-like draconic creature that is sometimes said to breathe fire, and it haunts the forest and is like vaguely invulnerable and immortal.
Oh, okay, so it's tied to humanity. Then we are looking at, yet again, a mutant. Warhammer has this.
What I could see for this being cool, though, would be what if there was a slave of the Dark Elves, a human that called out to anything.
Yeah, I mean, you could build a good story for why the mutant occurred. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the gods were like, okay.
Yeah, 100%. I think that works particularly well. I mean, ultimately, I think is a nice little concluding point to this in general. The Warhammer world works best when you tell a story. That's it. When you're telling a dark, grim little tale that comes with something that makes you go, ooh, and then have a think about what caused it to occur. And Warhammer works at its least best when things are just added for the sake of adding them. And whilst much of what we've discussed through this thread might sound like we're just saying, oh yeah, let's add that just for the sake of adding it, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're looking at each one and going, yeah, that makes for a really cool cryptid for this area, which doesn't have much. There's also a big hole sitting in the lore over here. That looks like a really good thing that we could plug it with. While sometimes we say, yeah, that monster is just clearly a Warhammer mutant, because that's how it works, because so many of our mythic tales are tied to something like this. Certain person does something and it all goes wrong, and here's the monster. And that is already a core component of Warhammer, and it is chaos turns them into something else. Oh, what's this?
Yeah, so the Jersey Devil is very heavily believed to literally been a story of people shit talking about one another during the American Revolution.
That's actually quite cool, and I think makes for arguably a more interesting story to build from. And I think that ultimately that's what we should be doing. Building cool fucking stories with whatever it is that we're adding.
I think we got roughly halfway or a little over halfway.
Yeah, we did all right there. If we just bring up our little table there, we've got around about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got about 20 left there, something like that, 25?
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. So we got about 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, we did all right.
Yeah, so that's not bad. So thank you all. This was kind of just a fun little experiment. This was just for funsies. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. This was just a little experiment thing. We will at some point come back and finish it relatively soon. So we might do it next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. But we'll come back and finish that up pretty quick. Probably next Wednesday just to get it out of the way. But we do have an announcement before we go, before we wrap up, which is that this Saturday at 10 a.m. CST, 4 p.m. BST, when me and Andy will be streaming our hot takes and headcanon.
I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
The second that stream goes live, me and Andy in the chats and in the various Discords will be posting the link for the new, shiny, lovely, official Lorebeards Discord.
Yeah, this is going to be super great because we'll finally be able to collate all of our chat in one place. Because as it currently stands, you may have noted we split between, as this stream I think made very clear, are posting on one side with LAWhammer and on the other side with the Loremaster of Sotek channel. So we're going to pull it all together in one place to make it super easy to find. And our individual channels, our individual servers, will be dealing with our individual server stuff. We'll still have our own little channel saying, yeah, Lorebeards exists and you should pop over to it over here. But we're going to be using the Lorebeards channel in particular, Lorebeards server, for all of our Lorebeard messaging. So that's where you're going to be able to find all of the Lorebeard stuff to try and make it easy on all of us. Because let's be honest, it gets a bit confusing bouncing about from server to server, trying to find just one piece of information, as this stream made pretty clear.
Yeah, and I will say that it should, community-wise, should be a lot easier. We will be organizing community events there, so there will be things like the occasional giveaways, and we'll explain how those work. And when you walk in, you may even see some spaces and go, that's weird. What's that for? And we're not going to tell you. You can just figure it out.
What are you talking about? There's not going to be any spaces. I have no idea what you're referencing.
Yeah, so
Sotek. Well, I mean, what's he even talking about?
It should be a good time. I'm going through the last little things to make sure everything is up and running tomorrow. And it should have like a really nice, smooth onboarding process. So you'll just see the things you want to see and won't have to deal with like a big, messy Discord. It should be much more organized than my Discord, I'll tell you that. Certainly
more organized than LAWhammer, that big sprawling crowd of topics.
We tried to condense it as much as we could. So hopefully you will all enjoy that new landing page and have a community space where you can meet with people that also enjoy Lorebeards, and y'all can all enjoy one another's presence.
Yeah, and I'm going to end with one little tiny request as well. As you're sitting out there going, oh, this sounds quite nice, there's something you can also do for us. Not yet, not until we have the new Discord, but one of the first things we're going to ask you to do when you move into the new Discord is name yourselves. Who are you all? Are you beardos? Beardlings? Beardy folk? Beardy McBeard faces? Who are you all? Because we're going to have to decide what to call you, and we figured the best way of doing that was to let you decide for yourselves. So we're going to be asking you to do that. I know that some people already have preferences for things like lorelings or whatever. If that happens to be, believe I'm not going to say who that was because I literally almost ripped him a new one for saying it because it made me laugh. But you might like lorelings, you might like beardlings, you might like, I don't know, something completely different. You might just like, assholes. Who knows what you prefer? I don't think that would be a good choice if I were you. It's entirely up to yourselves. So that being the case, we're going to be opening that when the new Discord goes live on the Saturday. So we're going to be asking you that as one of our very first questions. What would you all like to be called? I don't know what the answer to that is.
Where are the assholes?
Yeah, totally. No, I'm the asshole because I said it.
Yeah. So, that'll be
preferential.
Like the first big discussion that we have on that server, and it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, totally. So, and then we'll probably do a big vote and decide which one it is, and we'll see where it all lands.
Yep. And with that, we are out for today. Just going to grab this last little thing from Down a Man. Last minute, unusual thank you. Because you didn't stream last Saturday, I went for a walk, ended up at the seafront at sunset, and ended up seeing one of the best sunsets I've ever seen. Sky was like cotton candy fire. Oh, that's lovely.
That is just brilliant. Lorebeards, bringing people in touch with nature.
By not doing what we...
Not doing the job.
Yeah, delaying a stream. Awesome.
Okay, thanks all. You all super rock. We will see you on Saturday at 10 p.m. UK, which is not 10 p.m., 4 p.m. UK, which is, I believe, 10 a.m. Central Time.
Yes. Yeah, 10 a.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. British Time, the usual stuff, just on Saturday instead of Sunday. But we'll also, I don't know what we're doing this Sunday. We need to figure that out. So we're going to go ramble about that because we forgot to do a poll last week. Oops.
Yeah, so we're just going to decide. You're going to get what we want to do. God damn it.
All right. Anyway, we'll see you guys on
Saturday. See you all next time.
Bye. On Friday. So.
Cripes. Oh, it's going to be a good one. I just remember what it is. Anyway, we will see you all later. Bye-bye.